Hello and welcome to DCP episode number 139. We got a fat and juicy episode this week. Lots to talk about from Bungie. We got Briar Rabbit, we got Fran on the show, and Glad as well from Clan Redeem. Watts is sick, unfortunately, so she's not on the show tonight. And Pope Bear is currently helping Holt manage the Hot Topic shop, so he can't be on the show. That's not code for him working at Bungie. That's just, he's actually not on the show tonight.
Hot Topic had a huge day today. Lots of really exciting announcements.
There's a lot of stuff going on in Hot Topic, let's be honest, right? So yeah, lots to talk about. We're definitely going to go over the Bungie announcement and reveal stuff that they did today. Also talk about the raid and Season of Opulence. And like I said, fat and juicy, extra thick, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's get to it.
Should we get in and give Glad a quick intro?
Let's do it.
Needs one. So first of all, hello, Glad. How are you?
Hi. Thank you for having me on for the second time.
That's right.
That's right,
That's
man.
the first time.
How much sleep have you gotten in the last few days? Are you actually rested?
I got like 4.5, 5 yesterday. It's actually been a crazy week because I'm about to have a bunch of people come over for a concert for like 5 days. So, you know, it's funny because I'm super excited for all my friends from home to fly out here, but at the same time, I'm like, worst timing ever because, you know, new DLC drops and, you know, there's something that we were working on tonight that we really wanted to get done, but limited time.
What concert?
Plus it's E3 week. No.
What's that?
E3 week, yeah. What concert?
Bass Nectar. He's a
nice.
electronic producer, and he's my favorite, and he's amazing. So
That's
you know,
awesome.
only seen him like 45 times or whatever.
Just a cool 45. Wow, nice.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good reward for all your hard work this week. So the quick intro, just tell people if they don't know you, right? You really popped with Last Wish. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and why everybody obviously knows you now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically I'm part of Clan Redeem, like you said. We do a lot of challenges and speed runs and participate in all the world's firsts and stuff like that. And we've been pretty successful over the years across Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. And you know, I guess I got partnered January 2018 was when I started full-time streaming, and since then we had a world's first Spire of Stars and Last Wish. And when was Prestige Leviathan? Can't even
Wasn't
remember.
that December of
I think it was before
2017? December? Somewhere in there?
Yeah, something like that.
Spire, I think.
Good
But,
question.
Yeah.
Whenever we got that Acreus ornament, right? I think.
Oh, was it then? Oh, I'm thinking something else then.
That's how I thought you had to get it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So people know you for getting worlds first. Obviously, you and the team are amazing. And you guys just did the Crown of Sorrow. You also did top placement, right? Where'd you guys land?
We got third on that.
Yeah.
And so we had two teams. My team got third, and then our other Redeem team got 4.
Amazing.
We got 3 and 4. Yeah. But
That's
I
awesome.
gotta it's so cool. I'm so happy for the people that got 1 and 2. Because I literally tweeted like 2 days before, and I was like, you know, as much fun as it would be to get another belt, I'm really rooting for Dado and Be Bold. And I was like, I think it'd be really cool if one of those teams got worlds first, and 1 and 2 were Be Bold and Dado.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. I'm not saying that I called it, but
Your call outs are on point as always, it seems
when
like.
when I heard who won, I was so happy for them because, you know, I'm, you know, pretty tight with some of those guys, and they're a bunch of homies, and I could only imagine how pumped they were.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. How'd you feel when you got worlds first for the first time? Was it sort of like you were pretty confident of it, or was it like mind blowing for you at that time?
I mean, the first thing when you complete it, as Dado just learned, is you never want to like celebrate. You want like you celebrate your completion. Like, yeah, we got it done. We know we got it done quick, but you never know if you're world's first until Bungie makes the announcement. So there's that weird like 20 minutes where you're just kind of waiting, and you're like,
Confirmation.
what's going on?
Yeah.
But it's a huge relief. I mean, when you finish the raid on these world's first days and you're really going at it, it's their days are very stressful. Emotions run high, you know.
Yeah.
When you finally get it done, it's just, you know, no
This
matter
one
where
was
you
really
place.
weird because of the short lead up. I want to talk about that like the lead up and the raid itself, but I really want also, before we go into the raid in depth, I'd like to talk about the news that came out today, because we got an announcement from Bungie about the September expansion, and Google Stadia also had a press conference and announced that Destiny 2 is they're forming a partnership with Destiny 2, so that it's going to be free to play on Stadia, including the newest Shadowkeep expansion.
If you buy the Founders Pack,
You get it. Well, no, if you sign up for their Pro plan, which is $10 a month.
oh, or that. Oh, I missed that. So if you get the $9.99, it's also free. I thought it was only part of the Founders Pack, but I might have missed it.
I'll double check while we're talking about it,
Cool.
but I thought it was.
Yep. Folks in chat are saying free with Stadia Pro. I don't want to put you. I'm like super behind the news today. I
didn't really look into the
huge
Stadia
part of
stuff.
Stadia.
Yeah. So if you sign up for Stadia Pro, which is $9.99 a month, you get 4K 60 FPS HDR gaming with 5.1 surround sound, and Destiny 2, including the newest expansion Shadowkeep, which was announced today, is included with that, with the monthly fee.
Wow.
For $9.99 a month for the Stadia Pro, which is pretty
That's
nice.
insane.
I mean, you know, I was surprised to see this because, you know, obviously Destiny 2 is coming out of their PlayStation partnership, right? So to see them get into another partnership right off the bat with Google was a little bit surprising to me, but it doesn't sound like there's going to be any exclusives with it. It's not going to be like the PlayStation contract where they had, you know, exclusive weapons, exclusive maps, exclusive strikes. It's just going to be that it's free to play if you have the Pro membership on Stadia.
And we should just highlight that real quick, that Luke Smith said that the days of exclusive strikes, exclusive exotics, exclusive armor, those are gone.
Done.
Yeah, no longer.
He did say that.
Yeah, he straight up said that this Bungie moving forward was not going to have any of that crap in the game anymore, which is huge, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's really cool.
There's a whole nother strike that's on PS4 that we can't play on PC or Xbox right now.
And I have a wave splitter in my vault that says cannot use.
Exactly.
Because I picked it up from Zuri.
Like, it makes the community gets so salty over those things. And I'm just really happy that Bungie recognizes that. So I don't think this partnership is really something that's going to be like this weird, well, you get this, but we're going to have to take this type of thing. I think it's just them saying, yeah, we'll have our software on your service with this type of agreement if you promote it in certain ways with the Stadia.
And that was my big question then, is if, let's say you just pay, I guess you have to wait till November though, but if you wait until it's not ready till November, is that right?
Is that when Stadia comes out? I don't know.
Correct. Yeah, that's when Stadia comes out. The pre-order
version.
The pre-order says that it'll ship in September.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, in November.
Yeah.
So if you wait until then and just pay the $9.99, can't you then, we're going to get to this news, the cross-save news, but like, wouldn't it just mean you can just do that, but also play
No,
it
because
on
you still
Steam?
got to own a copy on PlayStation, Xbox.
Oh,
Yeah.
you still have to
PC,
buy
right?
all the individual versions. That's right.
Yeah, just because you have
Probably,
it on Xbox
unless
doesn't
you
mean you
get
have it
the
on
new-
Steam and PS4 and all that.
Unless you're playing New Light, which we'll get to again. But
Oh,
that's
right.
going to be the free-to-play version of
Yeah,
Destiny
good point,
2.
yeah.
Then it'll probably work.
Yes.
Interesting.
But you can do that anyway. That's going to be free anyway on all the platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
much to
let's talk about the Shadowkeep announcement. Bungie released, or they did a big announcement on Twitch, YouTube, like everything. They had a vid doc in there. They had Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy talking. They had Dado on there doing interviews of the developers of Destiny 2, talking about Shadowkeep, what, you know, the past and the future. I thought Dado did a really good job.
Oh, he
actually,
crushed it, right?
asking the questions that the community wanted to know, and then the
Didn't always get
developers
the answers
were,
he was digging for.
Of
no,
course,
I mean,
yeah.
and you would expect not
At
to.
trials, right?
I thought it, you know, Luke Smith especially, he was kind of like, we know you're going to ask these questions, and you know that I'm not going to be able to answer it. You know, like, that's how it goes, I guess, with that stuff. But I appreciated what Dado asked and kind of what he was trying to get to get out of Bungie there.
Also, that was the first time we've seen Luke Smith since D2, right?
That is since the release, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, he
So
was in the Vidoc, right, about the last season, which is what I've always
was
been
he?
referring to.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kept, it was funny, since then I've been excited about this because he was like, we want to be a live reactive online game, like wink, whatever that meant. And now we know what it means.
Yeah. So the Shadowkeep announcement started with Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith talking about their outline for what they want Destiny to become, and they had kind of this 3-part vision. Number one was they want Destiny to become an action MMO, and this is the first time we've really heard Bungie use the word MMO in public, and it's always been kind of famously omitted from their language, right? It's like everybody knows that Destiny is partially an MMO, but Bungie never wanted to say MMO, right? Because it came with too much baggage.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time they've embraced the MMO,
wholeheartedly.
word, and theoretically some of the stuff that comes along with that.
Yeah.
They want to add more stats to the game. They want to RPGify the game more, improve social on the long horizon. They said they're really stressing improving social is on the roadmap, but it's not going to be immediate. It's going to be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But adding stats to the game, RPGing it, like that's stuff that I think that Bungie fans have really been hoping for, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
They
for
also.
sure.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things that stood out to me when they started talking about gear customization and the mods and stuff, and sorry if I'm jumping the gun here, but
No, you're good.
This got me excited because I'm one of those people, I care more about the way that my character looks, and I will sacrifice, certain stats because I just can't be playing with a character that's looking all goofy and stuff. And I think the fact that they're recognizing that, and it looks like they're bringing a lot of customization to the way that we're going to be able to make our characters look, but also still be able to customize and apply different sorts of mods and stats and perks and stuff like that on our gear, I think is really cool. And I'm just curious how in depth they're going to go with the whole perk system on armor.
Yeah, they kind of mentioned this armor perks or armor 2.0 system that they're bringing, and it looks like transmog, right? It looks like it's going to be essentially transmog. You'll be able to take the armor that you like the looks of and put the perks that you like the functionality of on that armor. So it looks like that looks like transmog to me, right?
Yeah, I saw 2 points. Like there was a total point usage, and again, some of this is temporary because it's not finished. There was that like amount of usage, and then there was out of the total mods or something that you could potentially use. It was showing both numbers, like 16 of 20 total potential, and then cost, I think.
So like a
see
pick
that?
10 type of thing?
Yeah, it was. Did you guys spot this? It said like 3 for the cost, and then it said total something 16 of 25 or something like that. But it looks, you're right. I think one, it's transmog, but 2, there's going to be some system. Oh, and it looked like it would reset or something with the next season. And again, this might be temporary, but I thought I spotted that.
Wait, is this the artifact thing? You talk about the artifact thing that they showed on there? Like the Eye of the Gate Lord artifact?
The Eye of the Gate Lord?
Yeah.
No, I think that's separate.
Was that separate?
Maybe I was, though.
Because they showed the Eye of the Gate Lord artifact that was supposedly next season, and again, in development, it might change, yada, yada, yada. But like, maybe you might be gaining certain tools each season that give you access to these RPG elements.
Well, the Eye of the Gate Lord thing looked like it lets you unlock by playing and completing challenges. It lets you unlock armor perks, right? And then you'll be able to apply those armor perks to your armor. And some of them, they use the word exotic on the perks, like they're going to be like
he said at the end like there's going to be exotic level perks that you're going to be really excited about.
That's what I was going to say. To Glad's point, it looked like 1, transmog looks true, so you can look how you want Glad, and then 2. It sounded like they said if you do everything right, you'll reach exotic level armor or something. Does that sound right to everyone?
I don't know if it's specifically exotic level armor, but it's going down that path of RPG where you can really flesh out a build, because Destiny is like build light right now, where you have some builds, but majority of the time some of these stats just don't really matter. It sounds like this.
I didn't mean it would turn into an exotic. I just meant they said what you were referring to, that it would feel like an exotic if you.
They're saying exotic like perks, but you always have to take that with a grain of sand, because there's a few exotics that are trash in the game.
Definitely.
Some exotic like trash perks, or
So I don't know how much I'm supposed to say here, because I did go to the summit, but one of the things that I did say, you talked about some of the perks on the armor sort of being, insignificant. And you really can. You could take a random armor loadout from DIM and just apply any pieces of gear and pretty much do anything in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you could run a raid, you could run Crucible. Yeah, you might not get, some extra shotgun bullets when you pick up special ammo. But one of the things that I told them was your armor just isn't, besides some exotics, it's just not really exciting. There's not a lot going on. You look at a couple things that might help you a little bit, but for the most part, when I get pieces of armor, I pretty much just dismantle it, take the cores or whatever. And I think I'm really hoping that this makes every single piece of armor that you get dropped in the world something that you actually can take a look at and more closely in it. And when they came out with the mod system for the Leviathan gear for this DLC, how you can apply different Leviathan mods to all the gear in multiple mod slots, that excited me because that's a step in the right direction, in my opinion, for making gear more meaningful. Because as far as I'm concerned, especially things like chest pieces, they're just useless. I mean, you may as well just run whatever you think looks the best at that point. I think that's a whole waste in slot.
That's been some of my biggest issues with Destiny in their overall sandbox, is that like a lot of the times that armor is just, it's whatever. It's just, you can't, like, if every piece of legendary armor dropped and you were genuinely excited to see the potential role in there, because it could actually be a game-changing piece of gear for you, then that really opens things up for a chase. But right now, it's like you get another prodigal whatever. It's like, okay,
right.
Dismantle.
Yeah,
dismantle.
Yeah.
And it also opens up the farming opportunity, right? It's like it gives you length of play due to, well, I got this piece that I like, but I really want this perk on this piece that, I like cosmetically, but I really want to get this perk that gives me this benefit for when I'm in PvP. And then on this other set, I really want this benefit that gives me a huge buff for, raiding or, doing
enhanced
different things.
Grenade launcher reload speed.
But yeah, I mean, it lengthens the, like, when there's cool things to chase that have real effects, then it gives you a reason to keep chasing them. When all the armor kind of
blends,
when the armor all looks the same, and it doesn't really have any functional difference to it, and
it becomes boring. And like I said, there's no real like build type of thing. There's a few where you add a piece of exotic here and there and with the type of subclass, like that's a mini build, but like there's no true RPG builds in Destiny right now to where like you have to have all 5 pieces of armor lined up to make this build happen.
I would say the closest thing would be Gambit sets. And
that's true.
But the issue with that is it's exclusive to one particular activity. So it's really a shame that you can't use it outside of Gambit. And
I'd be okay with that though if they made sets that were just for specific activities. I'd be okay with it, because something that really feels awesome in Gambit and allows you to do all sorts of cool stuff would be awful for PvP, right? Like it'd be game breaking for PvP. But having it in Gambit like enhances the Gambit experience. Like I'd be okay with that, having like 3 different builds: PvE, Gambit, and PvP.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Did you?
Yeah, I like that.
Did you guys like intellect, strength, and discipline in D1?
Yeah.
Yeah, like going for tier 10 or tier 12 builds.
Absolutely, yeah. Because it was a build. I mean, you were literally running a tier 12 build, and I thought that was really cool. I mean, in general, I sort of miss the ability to mess with your recovery and your, what was it? Was it even called resilience in Destiny 1? I don't even remember.
No, I think resilience was new, right?
What was it called?
Because they swapped discipline, intellect, and strength
in there
to mobility, recovery, and resilience.
Yeah, but you could in your subclass, you could give your character more mobility in your subclass. And I liked being able to choose keep your same gear, but still mess with your, was it armor?
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't know. I mean,
that's another thing they mentioned later was they want to add more complexity to subclasses too, right? Is they want your character to have more options and to really flesh out like what you're customizing on your character. And I thought that was really exciting too, because it actually got simplified for Destiny 2 compared to Destiny 1, where you could really, not really, but you could customize your abilities in Destiny 1. In Destiny 2, you're really just choosing like a package of perks.
Yeah.
And that's why they talk about when they mentioned MMO a bunch of times, my brain immediately went to skill trees and stuff.
Yep.
So I started thinking of the possibilities of, how are they actually are they going to implement some sort of skill trees with subclasses where we can go through and we can pick our way through, subclasses instead of just choosing this, or this.
Yeah. Well, a pick 10 system would be perfect for that, right? It's like, it keeps people from getting overpowered by just filling out the entire skill tree. If you have to pick, like Call of Duty style, 10 abilities that you roll out.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. I like that idea. If it's that type of system, so you could really, because again, you want to feel like it's your build, and that's the thing. Right now in Destiny, it's like if you do one of the mini Destiny builds, you see a bunch of people with that exact build. You don't really feel like it's yours,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably come back to character customization because my notes literally went by their order of operation.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. Sorry if I'm jumping the gun.
No, that's good.
I was gonna say real fat. Somebody sent a screen of, I think they saw on the Vidoc those stats back.
Yeah, intellect, strength, and discipline is coming back. There was a thing again though. Anything that they show in the Vidoc isn't necessarily set in stone. They might be. Like they showed game type elimination screen to get people like, is that trials? Is that
they had items called lorem ipsum.
And
like the Latin to fill in.
Exotic hand cannon was the thing or whatever it was. So the stuff could change, but go for it.
In the pre-show, they also mentioned that they really want Destiny 2 to become a single evolving world where, it really feels like the story is progressing, the world is progressing. As opposed to, just, kind of segmented by DLC. This really made me, as soon as I started talking about this, it really made me think, are they going to do a Destiny 3 proper, or are they going to just continue to build upon Destiny 2?
That was my biggest takeaway, too. I was like, man, Destiny 3, with the way that they're talking right now, sounds very distant.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be a couple of years. They kept saying, we have more to do with Destiny 2. It's the way they kept putting it.
It almost makes you wonder if they ever have plans to do it.
Yeah.
Or if they just have plans to just continue evolving the same world. Because I was in a voice chat with Chevy and I immediately I was like, dude, a lot of the things that they're saying are making me like, what's the deal with Destiny 3? Because it seems like they just want to continue to stick with the same world and just keep evolving it. So
yeah, my bet's on September 2021. Next gen, it lines up, gives them time a little either after launch or whatever, but it's 2 years of this now probably.
Interesting. I guess. So after seeing this Vidoc and hearing them talk about how they're going to segment expansions and, there's a free to play component, you can purchase a season, all that stuff. Sorry for jumping ahead on that. When they're talking about those type of things, it really makes me think they want to expand D2 for a long time. And then when they're ready to completely wipe everything and rebuild the whole sandbox in a new way, that's when they'd hit the reset button for D3 and wipe all our stuff and do a new Destiny. And, I mean, maybe that's the perfect solution for them to be able to have like a team that's doing the real underlining work for how D3 could be set up that can work for like 5 years while we get to enjoy these type of expansions and seasons in Destiny 2.
I'm 100% okay with that. Take all the time you want for Destiny 3. If they continue to approve Destiny 2, that's great. But Destiny 3 then has to be as good or better than Destiny 2. It can't be a regression.
Time out on this, though. We have 30 frames a second on consoles.
Yeah.
How long can this go on? Because are you assuming that it's just going to upgrade on the next console, maybe? I guess so.
I am assuming that, Fran.
Okay.
Well,
but that's an engine.
So that's a huge question. I was bringing that up in a video I did talking about how like PvP, can PvP continue being peer-to-peer in 2019 for another 2-3 years unless they do some sort of architecture overhaul mid life cycle of the game? Like maybe in 2020 they legit do a D2 architecture redo and that actually gives 60 FPS on consoles because they got some sort of magic that they worked underneath the hood.
Well, one of the interesting things about the Stadia is that's going to deliver 4K 60 FPS on your TV.
Yes.
But that's PC.
Well, no,
that's Stadia.
He's right. It's a build just like an Xbox or PS4, but it's the Stadia server.
Yeah. You're using a controller on your TV.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
like
have
in
a
other words, we
Google-
don't know if it's a PC build that they're putting there. I doubt it is. It's probably, you're right, Stadia.
I mean, it's got to be a different build, right? Because it's running on a different structure. I mean, I bet it's similar to the PC build, but
I'm assuming it's basically the PC build.
I'm
Well,
assuming
what-
it's basically the PC build. But
what
it's
does
gotta,
that mean?
I mean, it's got to be somewhat different.
But what does that mean to you, Tef? Do you think it's going to look like it's running on a 2080, or do you think it means like an older? What does
I'm
that
assuming
mean
it's going to
that
look like it's on a 2080. Yeah, for sure. There's no
Really?
reason for
If
them.
it's
to-
running 4K 60, it's got to be running on some pretty powerful hardware,
But
right?
there's no
The
reason for
PS4
them
Pro
to
can
set
do
up a. Oh, I mean, they can bulk buy all that hardware and have these farms to be able to pump out those visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's
But, you know,
really an issue on that.
Stadia offers some of the advantages of having a dedicated server. I mean, you're not going to be able to. Theoretically, I would imagine you're not going to be able to DDoS somebody if they're playing on Stadia, right? Because you'd be DDoSing the server farm.
You DDoS the server.
That's their
yeah.
IP address.
Yeah.
True, but that's not going to fix PvP issues where if somebody's in like London playing somebody in Mexico, you know, like
I think it would, because their internet connection is going to provide a bad experience for them, but their instance, their character instance, is connected, you know, via high speed connection on a server farm to your server, right? Like, I would imagine that
Yeah. Glad. What do you
that
think? of
PvP would be
Stadia?
improved by this, assuming the latency to the server is good for you.
yeah. How do you feel about Stadia, Glad?
I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about it, or you know, pay too much attention to that sort of stuff. You know, I just play video games, man. I'm
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Did you
not
play
super. What's that?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Did you play exclusively on PC, or do you go multi-platform?
No, I'm just PC. I went from console to PC.
So with cross save, would you have would you consider days where you play on console since you can use your same characters?
I would not, because I can't. I am just keyboard and mouse. If I'm completely honest, it's I've become so adapted to it
Yeah.
that I just don't really enjoy controllers anymore.
So
Yeah.
this leads right into their third tenet, right? This is the third thing they really wanted to stress, is that they want Destiny 2 to be able to be played anywhere. Cross save is coming to all platforms. The rumor was it wasn't coming to PlayStation. Another rumor that came today is that PlayStation deal was like made yesterday to allow cross save. Like, so cross save is coming to all platforms. So if you play on PC, you can play with your same character on an Xbox, Stadia, or a PlayStation 4. That's huge. It's not as good as cross play. I really want to still see cross play come.
It's the first step.
But cross save is a huge step,
It's
man.
the gateway
is
drug.
Amazing.
It's the marijuana of crossplay.
Man, you gotta buy Shadowkeep on 4 or 5 platforms.
Well,
yeah.
any platform you're going to play on, or use the free to play.
Yeah. But it's
So
so different than crossplay is all I'm saying. It's like that's just what maybe a couple consoles, but it's for the hardcore. You know?
I do
I mean,
think
I'll
this is
definitely be
huge.
buying it on a couple for sure. Go ahead, Glad. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I one of the questions that I get all the time is, I'm thinking about moving over to PC, but I don't know if I want to regrind all my characters. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, just so much. I almost just want to put text on my screen. And I always tell people, regrinding Destiny on PC the game is so wonderful. I mean, it plays just gorgeously on PCs, like so much better than any other PC game, in my opinion, that it's not even going to feel like a chore. Just grind it. And people always come over and then they end up saying, you know, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It really wasn't a chore. You know, it kind of sucked not having a lot of my gear. But I like the fact that now that question is kind of going to be squashed.
Yeah.
Shout out to Vicarious Visions and David Shaw at Bungie, I think, on the PC side, right?
Yeah, making that.
For sure.
It is a really
The
well
other thing
optimized
is,
version
like,
of Destiny.
The community of Destiny got split when the PC version came out of Destiny 2,
Yep.
right? It's like
Definitely.
I had a ton of PlayStation 4 friends that I used to play with all the time. I played the PC version and I was like, wow, this is going to be the version I play from now on because it's really, really good. But unfortunately, like I left some of those friends behind on the PlayStation 4. And it's not that I don't value that friendship or I don't want to play with them. It's just that, well, now for me to go back and grind characters up to, current activity level is just too much for me, right? I can't fit that in my life. I can't fit having, multiple platforms of grinding characters. But now I could just log into my PlayStation and have all the stuff that I have grinded over the last 2 years on my PC and play with PlayStation friends.
Yeah.
It's super exciting. I mean, cross save is super exciting.
It's great.
About it.
It's a great first step. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of people who just straight up don't have the time that have PS4 characters that would love to be able to jump on a PC without, having to regrind Ace of Spades and all the stuff that they got. I mean, titles. I mean, think about if you grinded out a bunch of those titles, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
You know what? Glad because you brought this up, and it does need to be addressed. Wait, you said you have Wave Splitter on your PS4?
No,
right?
on PC.
Oh, you bought it with the Xur glitch or whatever.
Yeah, Xur's selling it, so I immediately picked it up, but it says like there's a red thing that says
Oh. Well, my question was, I guess it's just clarity. Obviously, if you play on a couple platforms, I believe you're going to have to choose one, right? And that's what it becomes.
Yeah,
that was Watts' question today on Twitter. On Twitter, Watts is just like, how am I going to decide? Because she plays on PlayStation 4 and PC.
Yeah.
She's done all her rating on PC, but she's done a lot of the other stuff like Triumphs on the PS4. So she's got a decision to make.
That's a tough one right there.
Like, which do I choose? And man, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, I do not envy that at all because she's got to make like basically a spreadsheet of like the pros and the cons of each platform and which one she's going to keep.
Once we know more about Shadowkeep, it becomes more of a, how much do you really need to worry about? But yeah, it's going to be a chore for multi-platform players.
I mean, I would feel very conflicted about that personally because like that's technically your day one,
Yeah, right. It's like it's got the legacy of your Destiny 1 characters too, and there was some Destiny 1 like emblems, weren't there? Like if you played Destiny 1, then there's some Destiny 2 emblems associated with that account.
Mm-hmm.
Did they come to the PC? Actually, I'm not sure because I did link that somehow. Don't think so?
Yeah. You had a chance, I thought, to link and transfer that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, was there? Oh.
I thought so.
Could be.
Maybe I'm no. You know what? No, I'm thinking about when we transferred to PS4. You're right. I gave up on that and I moved to PC. But I'm with Glad. I'm like, I didn't look back. Man, PC is just so amazing. I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I'm over it.
I feel like a lot of people are gonna get a taste of it and gonna be like, wow, this is nice.
60 frames.
I haven't been wanting to swap because of the grind, but suddenly I'm like, damn.
I will say.
So they also announced a new version of Destiny 2 called New Light. Now, if I get any of the details wrong on this, because they explain this over the course of about an hour and a half in like one sentence segments. So it seems like New Light is going to be a free-to-play version of Destiny 2, right? It's going to have all of the Year 1 content built in, and it's going to have all of the Year 2 destinations built in, but it won't have Year 2 raids and exotics and story built in.
They said all destinations will be available.
All destinations.
Yep. No matter what year, it's going to be available. You won't be able to play story missions, raids, exotic quests, that type of thing.
Right. And New Light is specifically geared at bringing new players to the game. It's a free-to-play version of the game. You will not have to purchase it. And it's going to instantly bring you up to 750 light when it comes out in September. So you'll just be able to join your friends who are already playing Destiny 2 at a current light level and start playing, current activities. So like the play for a new player is get New Light, and then if you like what you see in New Light, you can buy the new DLC in September, and you're instantly up to date. Like you have everything you need to play current content.
Also, there's going to be that starter. There's going to be the D1 beginning mission, the Eyes Up Guardian, that's going to happen.
Yes.
That's going to be redone
which
for
everyone
that.
thought D1 was getting remastered and freaking out.
That was amazing, seeing everybody be like, yo, is D1 coming back remastered because of that?
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a debate,
It is. I do feel like New Light sets the stage, though, for this. These compartmentalized, like, you know what? Vault is back and it's free to play for everyone. I'm not saying that's going to happen overnight, but I feel like it sets the stage. Do you guys feel like that's a potential now?
It's potential.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm really hoping for it, though. I'd rather see time spent developing new content than bringing back old content.
Well, and also how they're doing the moon. They're essentially doing like a re-envisioning of what would have happened after all these events took place on the moon.
Yeah.
So I don't really see them actually going back to older raids now with that in place. I see that potentially as like a 10 years later, Destiny 1 remastered type of thing.
God, I hope Crota comes back.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like he's coming back.
Yeah,
I hope we get to fight
It
him.
really seems like he
Dude,
is.
the raid though, I don't think the raid's coming back. You know, like I would be surprised.
No, I don't think so. But I hope there's some sort of combat engagement
That'd be cool.
with
Definitely.
him. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Was that your
So-
favorite raid, Glenn? Oh, sorry.
It was one of those raids. It was so bad that it was good because you could.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought as far as just fun goes, you could just do so much stuff in that raid, and it was a lot of fun to mess
It
with.
was a fun raid. My remembrance of that raid is very much colored by how buggy it was when it first launched, and it was really frustrating in that aspect. But especially with the remastered one that they did later in year 3, like it was just a fun raid when everything was working properly. It was just a blast. It was only a half hour. You know, you're in and out of there, and it was just a blast.
And you could just solo the whole thing, and you could just casually just do it, And I don't know.
Well, maybe you could casually do
it. You'd be surprised. Don't be surprised.
So then they announced Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. It's going to be a standalone product, right? So
The expand
you're going to be able to
alone.
buy this. It's an expansion, but it's a standalone product. So does that mean you don't have to own Destiny 2 to buy Shadowkeep? Or I guess you could get New Light for free and just add Shadowkeep to
Yeah,
it.
they're
really.
giving
That's what they're
all
doing.
those things to you.
Yeah, they're reshaping the way they sell this to where anybody can buy or anybody can get into Destiny 2 now, no matter what the platform. This is brilliant, guys. Like seriously,
It is
this
brilliant.
is intensely brilliant because all the PvP strikes in Gambit populations are going to skyrocket with people jumping in as new players at 750, being like, "What's this all about? Oh my gosh, this is good."
Yeah.
And then if they like what they are experiencing, then they can be like, "Let's buy Shadowkeep. Let's get in on what everybody's doing right now. That's cool. Let's buy this new season."
So to that point, which raids are free? Just
All year
Leviathan
one.
Year
and
one.
Argos?
Year 1 raids.
Year ones. All
So Spire,
And Spire.
Leviathan, and
Okay.
Eater.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But in
all
theory-
of the year one content is bundled as a free anybody can play anytime package for no money.
But to your
You
point,
can,
go
you
ahead,
can
go
still visit Dreaming City and Tangled Shore and all that stuff, but you're just not going to be able to do the high end game stuff like the raids and stuff like that. But it appears you'll
Dungeons,
still be
yeah.
able to do stuff like Blind Well and possibly the story missions and stuff.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
Okay.
Can you do story missions?
No,
Like
so I'm pretty sure what they wanted it so you can visit the destinations, but you can't do the actual expansion content. So story
so
missions.
you couldn't do the power drops from Petra then.
No,
No, I don't think so.
but you don't need to. You're 750 already.
Yeah, true.
Well,
By then,
Well,
there
they
is
just
going
want
to be-
800.
that is a good question,
Yeah.
Guy, because that is technically stuff that maybe they would just blanket out those missions to where you have to own Forsaken in order to
You
do
mean-
this mission.
You mean like an Ascendant story, for example?
Yeah.
or-
Could you pick up Petra's the story mission bounty that gives you a power and run
Yeah.
through that story mission?
Yeah.
That's my
I
question.
don't know.
You know how like when you hover over something, it'll say, players don't have this activity available or whatever. Maybe they'll do
Yeah.
the same thing. You don't own Forsaken. So buy Forsaken, you can do this type of thing.
Maybe they'll do another row though. Maybe they'll split it up a little.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
They are
But,
also offering a package that offers all the year 1 and year 2 content for $40. So you can
Yeah.
just buy. You can just get caught up on all the content for $40.
yeah, and that's what they ended. They sold something like that last year, right? Where eventually
Yeah,
we
they
got
do
the
that every
bundle.
year to kind of
Yeah, it was on sale. Just
Yeah.
buy the expansion plus
They
everything.
commented on that though. They said it got really confusing to know what you need to buy if you want to get into Destiny.
Yeah.
And I completely
Yeah.
agree because there's a lot of people right now who are like, this Destiny thing's looking pretty cool, but then they look at it and they're like, what do I have
It's like
to do?
$200 of an investment. Like,
Yeah, they're like, and how much time am I to be able to play some strikes with my buddy? Like what?
Right.
Yeah.
So that was something I didn't quite understand though. So if it's free to expand, which is what I've been calling it, if it's free to expand, and you buy, say, the next season, or you don't buy Shadowkeep, but then there's a season after. When I get
Yeah.
to that season after, and they say it's easy to understand, aren't I going to have to understand? Wait, this is Shadowkeep, but this is the
So
next one
Shadowkeep
still?
is season 9, right?
Right.
Theoretically,
So that-
season 10 would release in December if they follow like that same pattern. You can buy season 10 without having bought
Standalone.
season 9.
Yeah.
But aren't we going to get into this? Like, wait, you can't come with me because you have Shadowkeep. Like, eventually, you get on the third release after in May or April or whatever, right? And then Aren't we still getting into this territory where it's like, wait, you don't have this one and that one?
Yeah, if you do, like, it's like Menagerie.
So
it's like Menagerie. Like, if you didn't buy Season of
Exactly.
Opulence and you wanted to jump into Menagerie with your friends, everybody would have to own Menagerie or the season this season. That type of thing.
If I'm not mistaken, they were saying season 8 in the.
yeah, I thought it was.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Next is season 8.
I hear you, Fran, but I think this is the best way that they could possibly do this, because this way the
Yeah, no,
population gets really, like, you know, stoked
Well,
with people trying the game out, and then the percentage that is like, yeah, this is what I like, I'll buy this. It seems like a perfect model for them to fund it and
I think
keep
it's
it going.
wonderful.
Right? Yeah.
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 I think that what they got to get away from, though, with this model is that when a new season comes out, what I always find myself doing is replaying the old stuff to try and get powered up for the new content. And if that is still the best way of powering up to play the new content, that's going to be a problem if you buy season 9 but didn't buy season 8, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, where I was going is I think eventually
Yeah.
they're leading towards subscription. So you instead of this, because Stadia is going to do it, why aren't they doing it? That by the time I get to season 9, I just have a $9.99 month subscription or whatever. And then
Maybe they're
no
going
more
to do
thinking.
that. Maybe they're going to have.
I bet they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I could see them being like Shadowkeep and then individual seasons, but then being like, here's the big Chungus package, you know?
Right.
Big Chungus package.
What do you guys think of a subscription model for, say, instead of, because by the way, on top of this, there's the season pass, I think. Because the way I thought I saw it, wait a second. I thought it said that you could get Shadowkeep and then there's going to be a season pass. Did I see that somewhere?
I thought they were getting rid of the season pass. Like, it's not going to be a yearly season pass. They said that they were asking people to buy the season pass up front, but they weren't explaining what was in it. So this year, you're just going to buy it season by season.
I think they just said that they wanted to reiterate, and they know that some people are like, not feeling this season. Oh, this season I'd like to get into. So they wanted to give that option, because what they said was they didn't like having pre-selling content that they didn't know specifically what was even called in the season pass. So they didn't like that. But I think there's still going to be some sort of like yearly
annual pass.
Yeah, a pass, which
That's
is
what I meant to say. Annual pass.
Mhm.
I mean,
okay.
They had so much to talk about in today's announcement that I felt like a lot of the stuff got mentioned but not fleshed out. And I think we'll be looking, all summer as they flesh these things out, right? As they really talk about this stuff in more depth, we'll come to understand it more.
Yeah.
New Light, for me, it took me the entire hour and a half. The whole broadcast was like an hour and a half, and it took me the whole hour and a half to understand what New Light exactly was.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm reading a quote. Oh, but this is about Stadia. But it says this is the Stadia quote from John Justice, and this is PC Games N, who does pretty good reporting. It says the newest expansion, Shadowkeep, and the annual pass will be bundled with the Stadia Founders Edition. So I don't know if he means the previous annual pass.
No, he's talking about a new annual pass.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
exactly.
Okay.
So
But again,
I think there's still one.
They didn't like Season of the Drifter was a big pass for a lot of people. So those people would be like, I'm just not going to buy Season of the Drifter. I'll come back in 3 months for the next season for content that they're interested in. Like that. That's what they want to help people get around, and not like pre-sell them on a season that they might just straight up not be interested in.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Destiny. Oh, okay. They also announced no more exclusives for platforms, so don't go like strikes, maps in Crucible, exotic weapons, that stuff. There's no more exclusives per platform. That's all going to be gone, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that earlier. Destiny 2 for the PC is coming to Steam, so it's not going to be on the Blizzard launcher anymore. It's migrating over to Steam. Your account your character should be unchanged by this, right? It should be a pretty smooth migration from what they were saying. We'll see how that works out.
Does this mean I get more than 200 friends?
Dude, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Does this mean
As soon as
is
I
it
saw
finally
that-
the day?
As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, thank God. The friends list can be
Oh,
unlocked.
What is does Steam have a limit?
I think like
I don't
2,000.
know.
Apparently there's like a leveling system. I once again, I know nothing about the whole situation.
You're right.
Definitely more than 200.
So This is what Steam says, their official page. The amount of friends that can be added to your list is initially 250. Leveling your Steam profile increases the cap by 5 friends for every level earned. You can
How do you
also
level?
Buying Steam games.
Yeah, probably.
Oh no,
You can also
achievements. I bet.
Oh, here's an easy one though. So you can also link your Steam with your Facebook to get an immediate 50. So you link those up to
Hard
get 300.
pass.
Anyway,
All right,
it's more.
Oh yeah, Steam groups as well. That's
There's
a
gonna
good
be
one.
there's gonna be a Steam grind now. I'm grinding my Steam
Dude,
account,
you
man.
should-
I'm trying to get.
Steam level. Yeah. Honestly, ever since
no.
they put in /join, like that's been a godsend. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that
Which
continues.
is broken.
I know it's broken since the Opulence, yeah. But I hope that
Yeah.
continues with Steam, right? Like we need that because it's so nice.
Agreed.
Being like, hey, /join.
But once they announced that they were leaving Activision, like everybody was wondering, well, is it going to be on the Blizzard launcher? Or are they how are you going to play Destiny on PC? Well, it's coming to Steam. I liked how Luke Smith, made an epic partner joke. I thought
Oh, that was
pretty funny.
amazing. I was like, oh my god, are they really doing this?
I'm a little surprised. I have to wonder if Steam's giving them a deal because why in their situation wouldn't you take more money and just go with Epic? I mean,
Yeah, I
other
would
than
not be
the
surprised
benefits
if
of
Steam is
Steam.
giving them a deal.
I bet they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
they got to look at.
it's a big announcement for Steam too.
They probably
in a
shared
way.
some
For sure.
data and like look how many players we have, and it's going to be free to play. I mean, come on, free to play on Steam. It's going to be it's going to be top 10 all the time on Steam.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And all content and progression will just move over to your Steam account. You don't have to worry about losing stuff on your PC.
Yeah. Also, hacking is going to be rampant because you can just get a new account so easily. So
That's a good point.
watch out.
Oh boy.
VPN up.
They then started up the vid doc where they kind of talked about the development of Shadowkeep. It was interesting throughout this vid doc. They kept talking about how Bungie is now an independent studio and how they control their own future. Like they just kept rehashing that. Like they never said we're free from Activision. We can do whatever we want. We don't have to follow their rules anymore. We can make the game how we want. They never said Activision, but they really implied it heavily.
They did when they said, the capital R reasons. I was like,
Yeah.
wowzer.
Yeah.
They're not pulling punches. They were clearly frustrated. They pointed the cross save. They all but said because quote R capital R reasons we couldn't do cross save, but we wanted to, which seems to be Activision, which is
Makes
crazy.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how much Bungie, like you said, was frustrated or handcuffed to an extent, and a lot of stuff that we'll never probably actually hear about.
Oh, I bet we will.
Jason
Yeah.
Schreier.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Schreier, 2 years from now, in his next book, is
His
talking
tell-all
about
book.
the development of Destiny 2 and the breakup with Activision. Because that's a story I'd love to read.
Quick question: you two say Vidoc and Briar says Vidoc?
Oh, did I? I
What's
hate the
right?
term
What's the
Vidoc,
correct-
but Bungie officially calls it a Vidoc.
But is Vidoc a Bungie thing?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
So
one
that's
word,
not-
intercapped.
Is it?
That's not used by anywhere else. It was created by Bungie.
Pretty sure because this goes
Back
all
in
the
the
way
Halo
back.
days, right?
Yeah, when
Do
I
you think-
worked at IGN, they sent the first one, and people were writing Vidoc in our articles, and I was like, "Why are you guys writing it? It's a marketing term." And they were like, "Well, we had this huge argument." It goes all the way back then, but everybody seems to like the term now. So
You think
either
like
one.
Luke Smith is like the architect of the term?
I don't. He wasn't there then.
Oh, okay.
No,
I
he
don't
was
think
still
so.
at probably one up.
Yeah, you're
games
right.
or
Right.
Kotaku
Yeah.
At the time.
He took the
What
torch.
do you say, Glad? Choose a side.
I when I first read it without hearing it, I said Vidoc.
Yeah, you can
I
say
mean-
it's a video doc, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
I mean, it makes sense to say it like that, right?
it does. That's why Vidoc sounds weird. To
Yeah.
me.
Maybe I'm wrong too, but I swear they've been. I've heard them say it. I'm confident.
It's like the same people that say caramel.
Pecan.
Is this part of
pecan.
that misophonia thing?
No.
Be like, oh, the way you pronounce that. Oh my god.
Nah, we can't be friends. So speaking of Shadowkeep itself, the new expansion, they really stress there's going to be an undertone of psychological horror, villains being resurrected by the darkness. Eris unleashed all this, but needs our help to fix it. And there's really going to be an emphasis on more depth in character customization. It's really going to be much more RPG focused than previous Destiny 2.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Can I read the line from the update?
Do it.
It's just one sentence. New nightmares have emerged from the shadows of our forgotten moon. Called forth by haunting visions from her tormented past, Erisborn has returned and unleashed something that once slumbered beneath the lunar surface. A long dormant, power even she cannot control.
Glad. What do you think?
It's cool.
What do you think the nightmares are going to be?
So, have you ever played The Last of Us with the clickers, the enemies? The enemies kind of reminded me of that. They looked like almost resurrected, sort of infected zombie type hive characters. Another thing that came to mind was Pirates of the Caribbean. Part of the ship, part of the crew. They just gave me this real creepy, like stuff was growing on them, and I don't know at first. And then you saw some of the armor, and you got the Siva vibe. You saw the triangular diamond shaped red and black that we've all used to from so then I saw on the enemies it was red as well, so then I'm like, is this Siva, is this like zombie hive, like what's going on?
That's
pretty
exciting.
Well, the hive are there, and emphasis looks like it's gonna be hive, but they did emphasize that there is gonna be fallen here. Like it's not just hive that are on the moon right now, and the fallen were on the moon in Destiny
they were
one
there
as well, but once you got underground, it was much more hive focused.
Yeah, this whole Red Keep type of thing is like unleashing some sort of nightmare thing across the moon, and it's exciting. Like I wonder if it's gonna be like taken, like everything has been takenified, everything's been nightmareified or shadowified. Sure. I don't know if it's gonna be like that, or maybe it's gonna be more like how they did with Rise of Iron, where the fallen were Sivified type of thing.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there, some kind of nightmare infected whatever. Like Glad was saying.
So Watch said the armor was feedback fences, so that would definitely make sense because they were shaped.
Feedback
They're probably just red.
What if it's fallen guardians that have been reresurrected as nightmares?
We've hoped for this before.
I don't know. If
Come on,
fight,
friend.
Like,
don't
ghosty.
Does that sound awesome though? Fallen
Zavala
guardians,
the ghost.
shooting a Gallahorn
They
at
only
you?
do the moonwalk and walk backward.
They're emoting.
Yes, they're
As a
teabagging.
ghost. It's the thriller. I'm so happy that Erisborn is back number 1.
For sure.
Yes.
Such a cool character. We know Morla as well. She's so cool.
Oh, I like also.
She's so excited. She's on Twitter today, being all excited.
Yeah. I like that they confirmed 100% that Eris is a good. She's on the light side.
Yeah.
She's protecting Earth and the people and all that.
Sometimes you do bad things to do, for good results.
The end of Taken King, when she was taking that crystal, I was like, what is she up to?
Right?
That's,
She says in 2 things that struck me in this trailer reveal were, one, she says sort of welcome to my hell. I forget what she said. She's like, welcome to my nightmare. I think she says that, talking about Dark Below and all this. But then doesn't she say something like the hidden or closer, or it's the darkness is closer than you think?
Yeah.
Which is really interesting with the whole dark spaceship hidden vibe thing, which we don't know about.
Yeah, Space Doritos.
I think this could be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the moon, I definitely got a Rise of Iron kind of vibe from it. Like, we're going back to a place we've been before. It doesn't seem like it's going to be Mars in Destiny 2, where it's set on the same planet, but it's a totally different place. Or even, we go back to Earth in Destiny 2, but it's a completely different area. It seems like it's going to be the same area, right?
They showed places.
It appears just destructed, like messed up, big craters, something happened.
Kind of like Rise of Iron did. They did the Cosmodrome.
Yeah, it was all snowy.
Snowy and Sivified.
That's what I was thinking it would be like. Like, you'd go back to that first spot, but then there'd be all this other stuff's rebuilt. And to be fair, it's not like we went all the way around the moon.
No.
They did confirm. Wait, I don't know. Did they confirm another? I think they said it was twice the size of the original moon. Was that?
Really? They said that?
Was that in the Vidoc?
I didn't catch it.
I don't know.
I feel like I would.
Did you go to the special ND8 event?
I did not. This might have been a leak.
Come on, Glad.
It's somewhere out there. So I think no. They said on the Vidoc. I'm remembering this. All right.
Everybody in chat says they did.
Everybody's saying. So this is twice the size of the original moon. So the moon was pretty big. It wasn't massive, but it was pretty big. So imagine that being jumboed And I think that's going to be awesome. Also, the Red Keep looks really cool. Like this kind of like gothic type of thing that's set on the moon with all the green and red. I'm liking the vibe.
The moon's always been about verticality. It's usually we're just going down into the, like, under the moon.
Mm-hmm.
But with that Red Keep being built up, like, it looks like we're going to be able to climb that in some capacity.
Yeah. Well, it's been cracked apart, and we are visiting some of the same places, but it's been changed from whatever has happened.
Yeah. I just love that it's all headed towards the darkness. Like the new, we'll talk about it later, but the new Crown of Sorrow update, and it's all very dark and creepy, and it looks like they're taking it even farther, which I love that vibe personally.
Me too.
Yeah.
And, they mentioned Crota by name, and they mentioned Oryx by name, and how, there's going to be kind of resurrected enemies that we thought we'd killed but have been brought back.
Monster of the Week type of thing.
I wonder if it'll actually be Crota himself or some sort of,
Nightmare.
Yeah, different
Nightmare
version.
Crota.
Nightmare Crota sounds more terrifying.
We already had Nightmare Crota when he'd get up off his knee.
Yeah, we've seen Discount Crota before.
What did the names in the Vidoc? What did the name say? You saw Crota, comma. I didn't catch the end of it.
Some dank darkness.
There was something at the end of his
dranker.
name. I don't know what it said.
I didn't. Yeah, I've been so busy today too.
Somebody had to screen grabbed it.
Still.
Yeah,
someone in
Phantasm.
chat.
like
Phantasm. Crota Phantasm,
which is related
so
to
Crota.
Yeah, related to nightmares and all that.
Moon's
Phantoms.
Haunted.
Ghost of Crota.
Yeah.
It's like a Scooby-Doo episode, is what I'm getting.
Destiny 2, the Scooby Doo.
We're gonna pull off the mask and be like,
Zoinks! It's Crota.
"Old man Nash, what are you doing in there?"
That's interesting.
Yeah.
The Guardian van.
Well, it's really fascinating that Feedback Fences was on one of those dark figures.
Oh yeah, imagine they brought back a Destiny 1 exotic. Who would have thought?
I can't imagine that at all.
Wow.
I don't have a problem with it. As long as there's new stuff. We've always talked about that, right? Like, it's fine as long as all the new stuff makes up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're getting new moves.
Yes,
We're getting these finishers, right?
Oh
So
my
the
gosh.
Warlock has like this palm move. The Titan has like this like big fist move where it looks back at his fist and then like punches the guy. And it looked like the Hunter has this like kind of spinning knife attack where they spin around and they finish somebody off with that. It looked really cool. And any type of new move added to our tool set is always welcome in my book.
Absolutely.
So I wonder how that's gonna work. Are you going to have to stun the enemy and then everything kind of freezes and then it does it? Or is it just some sort of attack, or is it going to prompt you to do it? You know what I mean? I wonder how they're going to go through that.
Like if an enemy gets low, your melee automatically becomes a finisher, or is it a separate button?
Yeah, or there's something that you can press, like, you hold a specific button, because it looked like when they were showing it off, the enemies were kind of frozen in place and you were doing this to the enemy that was dead.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Maybe in multiplayer, when you're doing a finisher, you guys become immune, but the arena is still going on, so that way they don't have to freeze time or anything like that. And I could definitely see it being something like maybe hold melee when they're just about dead.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily lose your melee, because you don't want to. The worst thing about finishers is after the newness wears off, you don't want to be like, oh god, I'm in the middle of a finisher, I'm trying to DPS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like it was super fast. It didn't look like it was going to be like, it's definitely a pre-canned animation, but it looked like it'd be quick, not like a very long animation.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe it's random too. Maybe you set it and it happens sometimes in the PvE world, and then
I hope it's not random, because I want to be able to control when.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that.
Yeah. Also, PvP, doing that in PvP would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Doing a finisher.
I think it's possible. I was thinking about the Apex effect. Like, you can do it. It's going to put you at risk, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that shows you how big the balls are, man. Right? Yeah.
They're really going all in on RPG elements in this expansion, so they're really getting to that part of the game, which I think is really going to be welcome for Destiny veterans. Like, they're not getting away from the action of Destiny. So if you just come to Destiny for shooting things in the head, like, that's still going to be there for you. But if you look for something deeper out of Destiny, I think they're really going to start expanding on that more in this expansion.
Yeah.
They also talked about some new exotics that are coming. A new exotic heavy bow that knocks people back, an exotic trace rifle that creates a big crit spot, and a hand cannon with a scope that acts like a sniper. And currently, they're not sure if this is going to make it to the game. Lights you on fire if you use it too much.
And uses
Wait,
special
the hand
ammo.
cannon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And uses special ammo too.
What?
That's pretty interesting.
That thing looked really cool. I was excited when I saw that.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about for a while. You know, people ask me all the time, what sort of exotic would you like to see come to the game? And I've always said a heavy, a power exotic hand cannon that's a true sort of cannon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you launch the, you know, it almost feels like you're holding like a mini cannon. It's much bigger than a regular hand cannon, which is already pretty big. So when I saw that, it, you know, definitely was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool.
They also talk about there's going to be a renewed focus on PvP in Shadowkeep. They didn't really go into detail about it, though.
Yeah, it was very mysterious. It was
Yeah.
kind of the classic Bungie talk when it comes to these things. Like, it's great. I know that they're working on PvP stuff, and it's great that they confirmed it. But it was just just vague enough to where you're like, it could be nothing, or it could be everything that's changed.
Mm-hmm. They said they were rebuilding the foundation in a way, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For PvP.
Well, that was later when Dado asked Luke Smith about it, and he made the analogy of, you know, they want to build a whole house that is PvP, but first they have to rebuild the foundation.
Right.
And right now it's
that
rebuilding
too.
the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to Shadowkeep, when you download Shadowkeep, the new content is going to be available immediately, and you're going to start in the end game immediately. So there's not going to be apparently some kind of grind, or, you know, you don't have to grind to start getting into the Shadowkeep content. You're just going to be there. You're going to be able to start playing Shadowkeep immediately.
Yeah.
That may be how they are being able to buy a season individually, right? If you just buy a season and you can immediately start playing the new content, and you don't have to go back to old content to power grind, that may allow them to do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, how does it work right now with, like, it's kind of similar, right? Like, if you didn't get
Technically, right?
Curse of Osiris, but you got that Forsaken, right?
You get the
Isn't it
690s right
Illum?
away as soon as you complete that quest.
Yeah, and you can still go into. Yeah, like, in other words, if you miss Curse of Osiris, but you got this annual pass, right?
Yeah.
Can't you do that? And it's a little like that, where you don't have access to the curse stuff, but you can just hop in and do the menagerie right now if you want.
Would you be able to go to Mercury at all if you didn't go to Curse of Osiris?
I don't think so right now. It's hard to, you know, since I've only played in that world.
Yeah.
I don't think so right now.
Yeah.
I think it's I feel like they kind of have the architecture for it already. It's going to be hopefully better and smarter, but they're almost doing it with the power surge, was what I was going to say. Like, you can get in, grab it, and go. And they've already started to solve it, and we'll hopefully see.
Yeah, that lesson I think was learned with Black Armory. That was the community let them know that was not acceptable.
Yeah.
Oh, with how it unlocked, yeah. People had to grind like a couple of weeks to play new content.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That was not fun.
Yeah. It seems like they learned the lesson on that. What I'm a little worried though is that they're going to take away certain grind. Like, I don't want, you know, a month of doing old content to get to where we have to go, but I definitely like the power climb. I don't want that to go away either.
Yeah, but I want it in new content.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
I don't want to do what I did this time, where I just played old content over and over again so I could play the new content on day one.
100%.
Right? I just want, if I see Shadowkeep is coming out, I want to play Shadowkeep when it comes out. I don't want to grind daily bounties and season of Gambit, so I can play, you know, the new stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's the question is happening right now in some way, right? Like, Glad, what do you think with the current release and the current grind, the way it's set up?
So one of the things that I said when we were grinding is I kind of chuckled and I was like, you know, it's funny. It's yet another DLC where we're still doing stuff from how long ago? And I think that this is a huge issue with the whole leveling and progression system in the game. I don't have this God solution to it. But I really think that this is something that needs to be addressed because I think when something new comes out, we should be playing new stuff to power up, like you just said, Briar. And I think that that's really important because things just become stale and they feel old, and they want the game to feel like it's alive and moving forward. But with the way that the progression system is, it just doesn't feel like that. I think they can make it a lot more exciting. As for if you're talking specifically about the 6 hours up to a raid, the contest.
I want to talk about that, Glad. Can we wait to talk about that until we talk about the raid?
That's fine. Yeah.
I do want to talk about that.
Juicy.
Yeah. I do
Juicy content right there.
I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to.
That was a good job. Briar. I agree.
They talked about the new raid. The new raid is going to be in the Black Garden.
Yes, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go.
Are we finally going to get some answers on what the fuck that was all about?
Probably not. I'm guessing not. It's still going to be like, okay. All right.
Glad, what do you think about a Black Garden raid?
I think it's interesting. I also think it's interesting how that map that shows the Black Garden in Crucible, it looks different in Destiny 2 than it does in Destiny 1. So, if you've ever looked out there, it looks, is it even there? It looks like totally different. I don't remember.
Actually, is it? No, I mean, is it the Black Garden in Destiny 2 though? I thought it was the Infinite Forest.
All I know is that map in Destiny 1 had the Black Garden out there over the ledge. What's that map called?
Yeah, Pantheon.
Okay. Did you see it off of Pantheon?
Yeah, that was pretty
sure you
Black
did.
Garden was right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm always down for new raids, man. I think that'd be a cool location.
That sounds like a really cool location, honestly.
Does that mean it's potentially Vex, or is that just like you can't assume that? You think?
So I think we're due for a Vex raid for sure. I mean, when is the last full Vex raid that we've had?
Yeah. Vault,
besides VOG.
What's the Eater of Worlds?
That I don't count that because it's Cabal. It's kind of a merge.
Yeah, merge.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to be a bit of a merge too because it's probably going to be the Shadows. Because it's the theme is the darkness and the sorrows, and it's getting even more darkness. It's around the corner, and now we're going to the Black Garden, which was the heart of darkness. Remember? So it's probably those shadow figures that have gotten released through some sort of crack in space.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like a brand new version of X, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
We've had so many Hive raids. We've had a Fallen, one Vex. Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely due for another Vex.
Yeah, the Fallen raid even was it was the Siva, right? So it wasn't even real Fallen.
And
right?
Scourge.
It was like Siva Fallen.
And Scourge. Scourge is full Fallen.
Yep.
Yeah, that is, right?
Yeah.
That is full Fallen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did not want a Scorn raid though. Screw that.
Yeah. A full Vex raid would be really cool. I always love the Vex because it's like a lot of space mystery, like the interesting space mystery where it's like time and space being folded in these like crazy AI/hybrid organic minds being merged together through different time and space. Like that's fascinating stuff to me. So those raids are awesome, and I would love for them to do like a Last Wish style Vex raid, something. Yeah.
It was interesting to hear Black Garden come up again because they seemed to take it broke the story of Destiny 1 for Destiny 2, right? Some elements are clearly not coming back. Like they changed what the darkness was. They said the stranger isn't ever coming back. And the Black Garden just seemed to be one of those loose ends that got left behind, right? So to see that coming back, maybe they're turning around on like maybe some of those Destiny 1 elements will come back, like the stranger.
Yeah, I think it's possible, actually.
Maybe the stranger will just be an in-game meme. Like it's in the universe, a universe of a meme in there. Yeah.
Dado started interviewing people at the end of the...
Yes, he did.
And he did a great job. I didn't get everybody's name because I was like half listening to what they were saying and half also trying to write down their names as he was interviewing them. So I didn't do a great job of that. But some of the questions, I wrote down the question and I wrote down the answer. So they asked specifically, or Dado asked specifically, is Eris evil? And they said, no, she's not evil.
Right.
Like it's hard line in the sand. No, she's a good guy. She she uses the darkness as a weapon, but she is a good guy and she's trying to save humanity. They asked, is this story connected to Marasav and the Forsaken DLC? And the answer was basically no, it's separate. Although we did see Aldrin in a cutscene, right?
On the
We did, walking away from fire.
Yeah, it looked like he was burning her throne, right?
Yeah.
And
Brian,
they did
real
say
fast.
that the vignette style storytelling will be returning,
for Eris
in Shadowkeep. So like
was
the
gonna
weekly story bits.
Just I don't want to have to do blind well.
I agree.
I was going to say it was, the design lead is Ben Womack and the producer is Catherine Walker. Design lead and producer. Yep, I just found it.
They switched over to Del Chaffee III and Justin Truman. They talked about sandbox changes. They weren't very clear on the sandbox changes. Did anybody get like a real clear idea what they were talking about? Like they're saying, yes, seasonally we're still going to expect them, but they weren't really committing to anything more or less than that, right?
Yeah, what I got was like, we hear you, and yes, changes are coming, but maybe not what you think. They're like, we like the balance that's happening, and we definitely want to change and add things, but we're not going to be like swinging a giant hammer to this.
Yeah. Dado asked about the need to separate PvP and PvE weapon balancing. They basically gave a flat out nope to that.
That's disappointing.
Super disappointing, right?
Which is so weird. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not going to go off on a tangent because I feel very strongly about this.
Do it.
You should.
Do it.
Tangent up, man.
This is
because I make a lot of people mad when I say stuff like this. A lot of things in PvE are just...
Nobody watches the show anyway. Don't worry about it.
I'm tired of things in PvE getting destroyed because people complain in PvP.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Agreed. Especially class abilities, right?
Yeah.
Class abilities get like...
not agree with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep us PvEers, we just deal with it. If something's wrong, we deal with it. We don't complain too much, but most things are nerfed or changed or something because of Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And what it does is it destroys the main part of Destiny, which is its PvE. I mean, I think we can all agree that, there's a lot of people that, play the game for Crucible, but Destiny is primarily known for its creativity and its PvE content.
Yep.
And I just find it weird that things continuously get hurt in that component. I'm going to get destroyed for what I'm saying. I'm telling you.
No, I agree with you,
That was
man.
very objective.
Yeah. A lot of
I
people
play
feel that.
PvP and PvE. I don't want to see things be overpowered in PvP. Like, for instance, I don't want a rocket launcher that shoots spider grenades that chase me around, right? Those are awesome for PvE, but I don't want to see that shit in PvP because it's just like it's just stupid.
But don't we all?
They need to have separate weapon balancing. Like they just need to. Like
yeah. You
can make the gun feel the same and shoot the same, but it needs to have a different effect as far as like these mines only chase minions of darkness.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just shoots in a straight line.
Yeah, I got to be honest. When they said, people have like a feel to the weapons, and that's why they don't want to split. Okay, they said part of the reason was that there's an experience that you get when you shoot weapons in Destiny, and if they split that experience from PvE to PvP, then it changes and people aren't going to get that same thing that happens. And I completely disagree with what they said right there. For a fact, when you pick up Ace of Spades and you shoot it for like 1 minute, you're like, oh, this is obviously a really good hand cannon on PC, obviously. It's a really good hand cannon. It's working. It's not because I'm taking it into patrol and then into a PvP match. No, it's because the gun just is good, the way it feels. Yeah. And so their argument of saying that they can't make those feel too separate, I think is just flat out, I just think it's incorrect, just straight up.
It's weird because some things are split tuned, right? Like, yeah, right? Like they clearly do some of it, but it's like overall they don't. Is that the message?
Some are like, this gun is getting a buff in PvE only, like a damage buff. And it's like, well, that's like a good start. You should apply that to more things in the game. And I just want to be clear. Destiny without Crucible would not be a complete Destiny. I think Crucible is a core component to the game, and I think there does need to be more attention to it. I'm just specifically talking about things that are getting nerfed or changed or something because of one part of the game. I mean, it's Destiny Crucible and Destiny PvE are two completely different things, and that's why I think things should be adjusted completely different as well.
Yeah. So here's another example. If my one-eyed mask works differently in PvE versus PvP, I'm not going to suddenly have this like lost charm that's going to suddenly come over my Titan over my one-eye mask not being broken in the Crucible. Like it still should be good in PvE, right? That exotic, but it's ridiculous in PvP.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is, I think, and get the vibe, they're very nervous about making it too complex. They want you to have that experience. And I understand the basis of it, but the expense of crap, this seems really busted, that's the problem. And going back to what you said, Glad, I'm not hearing that you're like, oh, I don't care what happens in PvP. You're saying the same thing, which is you want them to have what they want, right? And you to have what you want. It's more equal than it is saying you don't care.
Yeah, no, totally. Like you said, a lot of subclasses in Crucible are just really overpowered and need changed. Spectral Blades, for example, but they're really not that good in PvE already. So then they get this crazy nerf to them because of Crucible, and then they're even worse in PvE. So we don't really get to experience, the full. I just
the
think
fix for this too is no mystery. All they have to add is like minions of darkness to descriptions of perks, right? It's like this does this against minions of darkness. Like you get an enhanced shield after you kill a minion of darkness when you use spectral blades. So you're not putting yourself at risk as much when you're using spectral blades, right? But it doesn't work in PvP.
Yeah, but
like
then
it says right in the descriptor.
But then that nullifies the exotic for the PvP, which is a problem, right? Now it's like, well, it's not really that useful. Why would I even touch it, right?
See, I think that's okay though, right? Like if an exotic doesn't,
I do too.
Yeah, there's a lot of exotics that you just don't really want to use in PvE either, that are more PvP focused.
So Taft, what if I told you that they're balancing Mountaintop? And it's not going to be any good in PvE. You're fine with that?
Got to move on to something else, man.
Really? Okay. I know you love it. I'm trying to play devil's advocate. The Pope.
No, that's great. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Whisper, it got nerfed because of its potential in PvE, right?
That's a PvE nerf straight up.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a straight up PvE nerf, which it sucks because the gun has had that full cycle and come full circle all the way back to where it was in D1 suddenly. So that's annoying, but I can understand it and move on to other things. That's fine. Like it's not just straight up killing it for me.
You can see why they did it now, having played the raid too.
I mean, it's totally justified why they made that nerf, but my issue with that type of thing is the continued behavior of bringing things back for sort of excitement, and especially you knew what Whisper was going to do to the game. They knew for sure.
Yep.
You didn't even have to test it. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's like, why even give us that if you're just going to do the same thing that you did in Destiny 1, which also pissed a lot of people off and ruin the gun.
I'm so okay with it. Glad. I think I'm the only one in the Destiny community who's like happy that they nerfed a Whisper, because I've been using that gun for 5 fucking years. I don't want to. I don't want to go into a raid and shoot a goddamn boss with the Whisper of the Worm ever again. Like I'm sick of it.
But see, that's the thing that I feel like you might be missing my point a little bit. My point isn't about the nerf of the Whisper. My point is giving us, the behavior of giving us something and then taking it away.
Yeah.
And then literally
just
repeating
don't give us the gun.
Yeah.
Just make that mission. The mission was awesome, and just give us like Black Spindle or like a legendary version. So we'll still be excited and we'll be like, it's not quite the OG Black Hammer, but we'll still love it, and then we'll never have to deal with a crushing nerf to it, and it won't break the game. And
Yeah, I was just to finish the point I was on, though. The problem I think they run into is you spend whatever 20, 40 hours getting Mountaintop theft, or you did the Whisper mission in 0 hour. You spend a lot of time getting something that is only, in their minds, I think, useful for 50% of the equation. So I don't know where I fall in all this. I think it depends on the gun for me, frankly. Like I'm actually more with Whisper, I'm actually like okay with it. I was happy to go in the new raid, which we'll talk about, and like not even have to think about it. It was actually really nice, but I understand Glad where you're at, which is like, why are you debating me? Why do you get me hooked and then you're like, sorry, we're gonna solve this by just taking it away. So I see both sides.
Yeah. I was really disappointed to hear that. They're like, we just want to make sure everything feels the same across the board. And I'm like, no, it doesn't need to. Stop it. One Eye Mask is broken in the Crucible. I use it. I'm like taxing people for shooting me with their bullets. It's stupid.
Yeah, and some things feel easy. Like that one feels easy, right? Like why not just split tune it? So that's where I think we get very confused. It's like you clearly can.
Yeah.
So why don't you just
Minions
fix
of the
that one at
Darkness
least?
shoot you. You get these buffs. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So starting today, all Destiny 2 content up till now is $40. You can go out, buy all of it up till right now for $40. That's pretty good. That's a good deal.
That is good.
That is good.
I wonder what it'll be in September. Like, will it? I mean, I guess
I would
it's
imagine
3
it'll
months
still
away.
be $40.
So.
Like, 'cause
Forsaken and Season Pass, yeah.
This confused me because they hadn't quite explained what New Light was yet. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't New Light all the?
That's what I thought. You guys,
like,
yeah.
New Light's year one.
They really.
New Light's year one. Year two is Forsaken. So that's where it gets confusing.
Well, they didn't explain that yet, though.
No,
like,
they
were
said
talking
it.
about New Light, but they hadn't explained exactly what it was.
No, they did. They explained that.
No, they didn't explain it fully until the very end. They didn't talk
All
really
right.
specifically new about it.
I walked away understanding it.
I did by the end of it, but
I was just gonna say presumably, maybe there'll be. Oh, I was just gonna say presumably maybe Shadowkeep comes with a discounted, really cheap Forsaken version. You know, extra $10 or.
Oh yeah.
Or year 2. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Did we mention that first? Shadowkeep. Sorry, it was going to be $35. I think they said $35, right?
I don't think we mentioned
No,
it.
$30. $30.
Oh, it's 30. Okay.
30?
$30. Yep. Future content will be a la carte. So if you buy the next expansion, that'll be $30. The next expansion after that, you know, like you're going to be buying expansions a la carte from now on. I have right here. I swear to God, they said there wasn't going to be a season pass this time around.
No, they said they were readjusting what they're reiterating on the season pass and the seasons.
Okay.
People are saying 35, Briar.
35?
Yeah.
Okay. They mentioned that players were underserved in PvP in year 2, and they will work to correct that. I saw a lot of people saying that it looked like this was going to be a PvP based expansion. I didn't get that impression. It just was more that we've got all this new stuff for PvE and PvP. We're definitely we're refocusing on PvP as well, not in exclusion of PvE.
Yeah, I think they're just acknowledging that they really haven't done much with PvP, and they're like, the community has recognized that and they need to do something about it. That's what I picked up from it.
Yeah, I think they realize that it's something that they really need to address because a lot of people are getting really fed up. I mean, if you were looking at the chat, you know, it was just a bunch of spam about trials and, you know, information that they wanted on PvP, because a lot of the stuff that we've been getting recently has just been PvE, 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 PvE. And it definitely does feel unfair because there's a lot of unanswered questions for the people that play the game for the Crucible. And I think they're feeling a lot of that pressure now. And, you know, I hope they come through with the stuff that they're saying, and I hope that they make changes that people are happy with. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the trials is coming back, but
not soon, right?
Yeah, I got the real. It sounded like the season after this was the one that would be more PvP focused. Not that they're not doing stuff, but I just kind of got that vibe that they needed that much time.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because they weren't very clear about the PvP stuff. They're like, we understand.
No, not at all.
Yeah, there's a giant black hole missing of PvP content, and hardly anything's been done aside from pinnacle weapons, and they need to do some stuff. And they're like, it's exciting. And then they showed that elimination game type of thing, so as a hint that they're working on that stuff, but nothing definite.
You know, I think it was Watts who first said that it looked like Gambit was like their next trials, or their shot at doing trials again, like kind of something revolutionary, and like really new, and it didn't catch the way Trials ever did, and now it left like a gaping hole where Trials used to be. That still resonates for me. Back to New Light. So they really explain New Light at this point. It's a new entry point tailored toward new players. The first mission at D1 will be remastered to start off new players. The goal is to remove barriers so new players can play with friends right away. They really said specifically, like within 20 minutes, you're going to be able to team up with your friends.
Yeah.
You'll have all the destinations unlocked within a couple of hours, and you're just going to hit the ground running at 750 light. And that friend who has been playing Destiny 2 for 2 years, you're just going to be able to start playing current level activities with that player, and that's awesome. Like I think this is a really smart move from Bungie.
Yeah.
Once you arrive, go ahead.
I was to say I totally agree because we the core of the game, the most fun stuff is the end game stuff, and the stuff after all, getting just sort of checking boxes, story missions, just getting to play with all your friends. Nobody really wants to do that. It almost seems like a chore when a new friend comes in. You got to help level them. So I think this will get people, like they said, right to the meat of the game. I think it's wonderful that between the free offering of the game and being able to have people get up and to play the actual content, so to speak, for Destiny is wonderful. And I think it'll definitely grow the community and bring some new people in and extend interest.
I feel like the populations for Strikes, Gambit, and Crucible are never going to be empty with the free to play stuff.
Good.
Because they said all the
few times.
Yeah, they said all the strikes, all the maps, and everything will be available to New Light players. So they're not splitting that population at all. So there will always be, or at least I think, anyways, there's always going to be like a healthy population in those playlists. Really smart.
Yeah.
If only it was crossplay.
Yeah.
So close.
Right. The campaign content is all going to be optional, so you're not going to be forced to play through what was the Red War? Is that what it's called? The first campaign?
Yeah, I think
Red War. Yeah.
Red War. You're not have to play through any of the Braytech stuff or the Warmind stuff. Like that stuff will be there, and it'll be there optionally, so you can play it if you want, but you're not going to have to get to the current content. The Year 1 raids are included. The Tangled Shore, Dreaming City, and the Moon are going to be accessible, but you'll have to purchase Forsaken package to play the raids from Year 2, the exotic side quests, and the campaign. And I'm sure you'll have to buy, obviously, the new expansion to play the new stuff for the Moon.
Yep.
But you'll be able to go visit the Moon.
Yeah.
Which is, again, really smart. Like if
That's really cool.
If somebody's already interested in the game and they get to go check out the new Moon, and they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. I guess I'm going to buy this. Like it's the perfect method to get somebody to just be like, yeah, I'm going to buy this.
Yeah. I guess actually I'd never thought of it, but they'll now see potentially someone with weapons and armor on their back and be like, oh, what is that? And you're like, well, that's from Shadowkeep, right?
Yeah. And then they suddenly whip out their emote.
It's kind of cool.
Drop in the T, and they're like, oh, where do I get that?
Tess has got a new shop on the Moon. Come on by. Come here. What are you selling?
Tess has been a hive all along.
Yeah.
She is the Red Keep.
Briar, I did want to note as we were talking about all these additions that it does say the Shadowkeep Deluxe Pack includes 4 season passes.
Okay.
So, and each offers a unique set of exclusive seasonal activities, artifacts, and rewards. And a couple things they say you get with the Deluxe Pack are exclusive Erismorn themed items, an exotic emote, a ghost shell, and an emblem. So but it looks like you'll have 4 season passes.
So 4 season passes, that would be like an annual pass.
Yeah, right? That's basically an annual pass.
Precisely, yeah. It's a good way.
Yeah.
Good way to put it.
They're like,
so that's
they're
$60.
steered away from the annual pass terminology. Like, let's not say annual pass.
Well, like, there's people like us that know we're gonna play all 4 of these seasons, right?
Yeah.
Like, for me, if they're offering this as a bargain deal, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy it for $60.
Right, and so the
because
easy
I know
math
I'm gonna
is,
play the rest of them.
yeah. So you can think about it either way. It's $25 for a season pass, probably. Because meaning it's $34.99 for Shadowkeep, or you buy the deluxe pack, so you get for an extra $25, you get all 4 of those. I don't know if you'd be able to buy season passes separate. I guess you should be able.
Yeah,
to,
they
right?
say you
Yeah,
can. They say you be able to buy them separate.
Yeah, they said this is part of the new vision. They're like, if you want to drop out for a season, you can then pick it back up next season. Just buy that specific season, content.
Yeah. So
Uh,
they'll have it.
yeah, I mean it's a different way of doing it. Like the annual pass is still there. They're not calling it the annual pass. You just buy all 4 season passes at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Semantics, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
semantics.
think it's definitely semantics. Or if you're a bit disappointed by this annual pass, like if you really didn't like Black Armory or Season of the Drifter, you might want to say, I'm going to keep that money until I see this season, and I'll spend that money if I think it's worth it.
Right. And they actually make a note that if you seemingly, because of this system, if you buy one of the season passes, but you don't have all 4, it says if players already own the current season pass, you'll receive credit towards future seasons up until season 11. So, I mean, I think you can pop on the deluxe packing, still get your credit, and you can buy it later, I guess. But,
Right.
But I don't know why you would unless it's a deal. So maybe it's,
Yeah.
Did they say how much it was for an individual season?
I mean, we know that this one's 35, but this one is like the big September one. So I would assume.
Well, no, that's
the
for
expansion.
Shadowkeep. So I'm saying,
Shadowkeep
do we know
expansion.
what
Yeah.
for each of the 4
Oh,
seasons?
no, I
They didn't
cost?
announce that. I'm
No.
assuming it's $10-15. Right?
Well, because if you divide $25 by 4, it'd be $6.25.
Yeah, so it's
for
gotta
a
be
season
more than
pass.
that.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's going to
Wait,
be
are you going to be able to
$9.99.
buy the season pass for the season without buying Shadowkeep?
I'm assuming.
No, you have to get Shadowkeep.
Like, how would that work?
No. You have to get Shadowkeep, is what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
then you buy a season pass on top of it. There's season pass content coming on top of Shadowkeep, from the sound of it, right? Or am I reading this wrong?
I feel like that's super confusing way of doing it. If you buy Shadowkeep, you should get the season pass.
No, you're not, because again, you can buy a deluxe pack that includes 4 season passes for an
So
extra.
you get the deluxe
$25
Shadowkeep. You get all the
That's right.
seasons for the year.
for $25.
Yeah.
That's
So
I can't believe that's true because it's just too stupid.
To me,
Hold on.
what you're
I'm
seeing.
If
confused.
you
'cause-
buy Shadowkeep, I cannot believe that if you buy Shadowkeep for $35, you don't get the season pass for this season.
No,
For the
because
Shadowkeep season. I cannot believe that.
that's only for that first season. You get that season and
For
Shadow-
the first season. Yes. When you buy Shadowkeep, you must get the first season for free.
You do.
Like it must be included
No,
in
they
Shadowkeep.
said it was.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they said that was included.
Because that would be ridiculous if they were to sell you Shadowkeep but not include the season pass in that.
Oh, okay. When
Okay.
you're saying season pass, we're thinking the whole year. You're thinking just
No.
Just
I'm
that
not talking
season.
the annual pass. I'm talking the season
Yeah,
pass.
no, it's included with that. Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Okay, actually, you made a good point. It's not divided by 4, I guess. It's divided by 3. There's 3 more releases coming,
Good point.
which I think you can buy the entire season pass or annual pass along with Shadowkeep, so you'll have all future season pass content already built in. Sounds like, right?
So much for not being
Anyway,
confusing.
we have a lot to learn. I think it'll make
it's-
sense when we
I
see
think
it.
half of the confusion here is us using last year's language.
Yeah, season
Yeah,
pass
maybe.
sounds like a whole year, like they did in vanilla. Or
No. Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to refer to that as an annual pass. The season pass is specifically going to be for the season, like season of the Drifter or season
Yeah.
of
Yes.
Opulence.
Yep.
And yeah, that's why they say you'll get 4 season passes up
Right.
towards season 11.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd get like theoretically if we were to apply this system to this year, Forsaken would be 1 season, Black Armory would be the 2nd season, Drifter would be the 3rd season, and Opulence would be the 4th season.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, I think we kind of see year 3 shaping up, right? It's like, well, we'll get
Yeah, sorry, it just hit
Well-
me in the face like a shovel that I'm like, oh, I keep thinking in my mind, I guess, that there's like another Shadowkeep coming in December now because of the way they put this. But we don't
Yeah.
know that.
I don't think
I
so.
think
No, I
it's
would
just
not
the season
expect
pass.
that.
Mm-mm.
That's
No.
what's getting me. Okay.
No, I would not expect another Shadowkeep. I would expect another thing like Season of the Drifter, Black Armory, or Opulence.
Scourge. Yeah. Yeah. So it's the same setup as last year almost. It's just
Just nomenclature.
Priced differently.
Calling it annual
Yeah.
pass versus season pass. Yeah.
Well, they're not using that. I don't think they're using that annual pass.
No, they're calling it the
wording,
deluxe.
unless
They're
you
calling it
buy
the deluxe pass. They're the deluxe
Yeah.
version. That's why it's different. Anyways.
which just comes with 4 season passes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you can buy those season passes individually when the time comes as well.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Whew. Glad we got through that. a lot.
That's my bad. I shouldn't have brought it up.
Luke Smith then came out. Dado talked to Luke Smith directly. It was good to see Luke Smith. And he asked some good questions. And Luke Smith didn't really answer many of them. Dado asked why partner with Stadia, and Luke Smith really just said, it's really just a step to allow Destiny 2 to be played anywhere. It's cool that it's going to be included with the pro membership of Stadia. It's basically going to be a free game included with Stadia if you pay your pro membership fee. And, that's going to bring in more players. Is it going to be another, are those players going to be locked into just other Stadia players? Like, how big is that population ever going to get?
I'm assuming it is. Yeah.
So they're just going to be, if you go in a PvP Stadia, what are those queue times going to be like?
Good point.
Well, maybe cross save is really the beginning, and they just aren't talking about it yet, how cross play is going to unfold in their plan down the road.
Yeah.
Then Stadia,
that'd be great.
The first step would be Stadia with PC, since it's, I'm assuming, really similar architecture. So
yeah.
they'd have that.
Crossplay would be great.
Right? I mean, talk about fixing all population problems.
Yeah.
Except for PC players playing with PvP players on console. They'd have to figure out
I've
something
seen
like that.
friends that just can't make it over to PC for many different reasons.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Be amazing.
Yeah.
It would literally be the
It would be
brightest
amazing.
timeline, guys. The actual brightest timeline for Destiny.
Dado asked about how this is the first time that Bungie's used the word MMO, or they use the terminology MMO. And Luke Smith really wanted to emphasize that they're still preserving the action game, but they want to bring deeper character customization, deeper character sheet. Long-term goal is to improve the social game and make it easier for players to play together. So he basically just reiterated what he had said at the beginning. Dado asked, are we going somewhere with the story of Destiny 2? And I thought that was actually an interesting question. And Luke Smith was a little cagey on this, but he did say that, the story's not ending. They're not working toward an end point for the story. It's not like Game of Thrones where we finally have an ending for Game of Thrones. But it is heading somewhere.
Right.
Right? So there's no written resolution to Destiny. There's no
It seems very open-ended.
Wrap that up. It's all done.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we're going to an actual conclusion of the darkness has been squashed. Let's go get beers.
Yes. Yeah.
I hope that's the end. Cade cocktail.
Yeah. It seems they want to make an open world that is evolving, and there's different corners that keep on expanding and doing weird stuff and cool stuff. And I think that's cool. I think that's actually how a lot of players like to play the game, is to go to their part of the game that they really like, live in it for a while, get cool loot, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah. Dado asked, is Trials coming back? He
Smoking beers.
not right now, that's
Yeah.
for sure. And he kind of made that analogy about, they recognize that they have to build a new house for PvP, but right now they're just starting on the foundation.
Yeah.
So there's going to be changes to the playlist structure and stuff like that. There's different game modes, but
So
no answer on Trials. Don't expect it soon, I would say.
yeah, this is another reason why I'm yes, they're working on PvP, but keep your expectations in check about this stuff, because it's the same guy who said your 10th Better Devils was going to get fixed at some point, and it took a long time to even see some of that. So they might be in a long-term setup of trying to fix PvP at the moment.
Recognizing a problem is different than solving.
Yeah, exactly. So it might be a while. Then again, they might have the answers this fall. We'll see.
Are old assets being resold on the moon? I think that's it's a question that a lot of people had when they saw the moon was coming back, and they said that it's updated to the latest context. It looks different, and the world of the moon has changed.
Yeah, it's evolved.
I think we'll see about that.
Yep.
Then he asked, "Is Destiny 3 coming out? Like, when's Destiny 3 coming out? What's going on in Destiny 3?" And like, no answer on that. Complete avoidance of the question.
Yeah.
Once
Nice
again,
that they
makes you wonder.
It really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I took kind of like a step back of wanting to collect everything in D2 because I was like, well, it's just going to get nuked from some other invasion that comes up in D3. So my interest levels of collecting everything had waned. But now I'm like, man, I kind of wish I had collected everything because I feel like this game is going to be, or it's going to be Destiny 2 for another 4 or 5 years, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think at all on that, but
Yeah.
I understand why you would think that now. I just think they need to buy a few more years.
You think it's a long-term, you think it's a play that they're doing right now to keep the market?
I don't think it's. I just think that you see, actually, Bungie seems to be unearthed in a lot of ways, probably which happened over the last couple of years, but especially with the final breakup with Activision. So, meaning, I feel like they just now have reset. The last year they've spent, I think, trying to be the form of what they want to be, and this is the first year they'll be able to do it. But I don't know. I just look at, let's see, Destiny 2 came out in
2017.
2017. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, traditionally 4 or 5 years is about spot on.
But if they're an MMO though, this is the MMO
Of course.
You know, like you don't have an MMO for 4 or 5 years, and they're like,
yeah,
throw that one away. You know, it's
I
like,
don't know, like how do they get around that though? Like, glad, like you said, how much there's so much old stuff still in the game.
Well,
You know,
Destiny 2 is such a huge game. I mean, it's way bigger than Destiny 1. There's way more stuff to do, and it's on console and PC. So you got to ask yourself, how much can you really add before, you can't add any more stuff?
right.
I don't know. World of Warcraft says there's no limit.
Yeah.
so they could take the WoW approach and like vault stuff, or you know how like year one of D1 had things that you just couldn't or weren't effective in year 2 because of the light level cap.
Yeah.
How they did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know some of that's good. Some of it creates problems, though, right? Where you're like, why can't I just go back and play that at my new level? And I don't know.
Well, that's what I think. Like with light level cap, if you're referring to weapons and gear being locked, not being able to go above a certain power, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like, remember in year 1 of D1 how like suddenly your Vex Mythic class wasn't usable in year 2
for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly the best way to shift the meta in games, because if you're using, like, as much as I love Midnight Coup, I freaking hate the gun. Like, it's all that I use. It's the best kinetic weapon in the game, hands down, and I'm tired of using it. And I think that they just need to, every year or something, just everything gets left behind, and you can go back and you can still use it. They're not nerfing the guns, they're not ruining it, because right now they have a habit of sort of nerfing things to make you use new stuff,
to make room.
I disagree with that. I think you should lock it away and then force people to use new stuff for the higher power activities, but they can still use the stuff that they know and love for older activities.
Yeah.
And that'll shift the meta without completely destroying weapons.
See, I can see them doing that to D2 now. It's like with them openly embracing the MMO term, I could see this game actually expand into several years, well, beyond like the thought of, oh, it's 2021, now we have to have a D3 refresh. I could see them like really embrace that for a while until they are really have everything ironed out for what D3 wants to be.
Yeah. I wanted to ask Glad, based on this question, if you look back at Forsaken, because right now it seems to me that if you look at Shadowkeep, it comes with, new destination, a new dungeon, like Shattered Throne or something, new missions and quests. It seems almost the model of Forsaken. We don't know if it'll be as big or not.
Yeah.
But my question is, if that continues for 2 years, 4 years, 5, do you think the model's enough? Like, if you look at the last year content, like, would that be sufficient for you? Do you think they need to do a lot more?
So this is totally my opinion. I prefer the massive content drops all at once. I prefer when a lot of stuff is sort of dumped onto us at once. And here's why: because it doesn't force me to play the game over a period of time. I can play it how I want to play it. And a lot of people will play devil's advocate, and they'll say, well, you you're the reason why people exhaust content and then say that there's nothing to in the game. But no, that's not true. I never say that stuff. It's just a lot of stuff to do. I like that feeling of being overwhelmed because there's so much stuff to do, as opposed to being forced to play a little bit of content here, and then next week a little bit more, and then 2 weeks later a little bit more. That's just my opinion.
100% with you, Glad. I love being immersed in a game and like just being able to like dive in for hours at a time, as opposed to the drip feed content where I log in. You know, this week I got 4 hours of new content. A week from now I got 4 hours of new content. A week from then I got 4 hours of new content. Like that, to me, it doesn't satisfy me.
Yeah.
It just it almost becomes an annoyance.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like the drip feed is there to make they want to make the game feel more alive, and they want to prolong content, but it doesn't really do that. The game is most thriving and most active and most hyped when there's just a shit ton of stuff to do and so many things. Like Forsaken, you're just so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I mean, they give you 2 weeks for the raid. That's insane.
Yeah.
And you're still freaking 40 power under. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just like being able to pick and choose and play whatever I want to play, instead of, playing for this 2 hours a day, and then you're just like, okay, back to old stuff.
Yeah, that's precisely how I felt with Drifter. It's like if they had taken Season of the Drifter and put it together with Season of the Forge, I felt like it would have relieved some of that like fatigue that I felt from it, because I was just like, I don't really want to go and do that specific activity, and that's what is available for that season. And I'm like, I felt like it tarnished the experience for me, as opposed to, like you're saying, like you get in, you get a bunch of stuff you want to do. That's exciting, even if it's not like a Forsaken size drop every single time, but like they can do smaller, bigger drops, and it will still feel exciting, right?
But things that I'm okay with are things like Whisper Catalyst and Outbreak Catalyst. That's fine. Like if you want to make us wait 3 weeks, and every week there's something different, like a new burn or a new puzzle, or that stuff's fine, because those are like secret little hidden quests. But if your entire DLC and your whole core of your content is based around that, I just disagree with that personally.
But just to clarify the question, right? If you look at the release of Destiny 2 Vanilla, now let's assume that it had all the balance it does and it didn't have its problems. There was a lot of content, new destinations, like there's quite a bit, all packaged in one, like you're saying. Then you look at Forsaken and that package. So in other words, if it all releases at once, is that all you're asking? Or in other words, do you think Forsaken is enough content if you get it all at once? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure, like what, like, how you want me to answer, other than the fact that once again, I just agree with these massive, much larger content drops, because I think they actually will have a longer playtime for players. It'll hold people off for 3 to 6 months or something like that, as opposed to drip feeding it. I think it'll actually turn people off quicker.
I think what Fran's saying is, do you think, like, if you just had Forsaken and not had any more stuff after that, so like every year, like a big drop,
all in one.
like, are you okay?
Oh, just one drop a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
In other words, is the annual pass plus Forsaken enough content for you if they gave it to you all at once?
Oh, if they
gave that's the path we're on. Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. Like, we're on the same path from what I can tell. So do you, in other words, do we think that that's enough content, or are you asking for twice as much content in the next year?
No. I think what he's asking, he liked the, excuse me if I'm wrong, Glad. I think what he's saying is that he likes the expansion packs, the 3 a year. Right?
Oh,
yeah. That would be more up my
I prefer that as well. Like, I like that better, because when
like a big one that holds you off for 5 months, another one that holds you off for 3, and another one that holds you off for 3, or something like that.
And Forsaken did that for you guys? Because now I'm lost. Are you saying Forsaken?
For some, like, I prefer the year 1 model, where we got Destiny 2, then we got Curse of Osiris, and then we got the what was it, Braytech? I can't remember the name of that one for some reason. Warmind. I like that model better, because when that expansion hits, I am completely immersed in Destiny 2 for, weeks. I'm first thing is I'm getting ready for the raid, then I'm going and I'm kind of like leveling up my character and exploring the missions. And honestly, when I first play through the story of those things, I buzz right through it because I'm usually like grinding for a raid. So I'll go through on a second character and really kind of explore the missions. Then I'm looking for all the secrets, and then I'm doing the PvP because you usually get new PvP maps. For me, that's much more, it's intoxicating for a while, as opposed to the drip feed that we get from the annual pass, which is a couple hours a week here, a couple hours a week there. And, to be honest, the longest I've gone without playing Destiny was during Season of Drifter. It was like a full 3 months where I did not touch Destiny. I did not turn the game on because I just wasn't interested in the content they were providing in this drip feed basis. It just was not appealing to me.
Yeah.
I'm all about the best way to satisfy super hardcore people that play a lot, but also satisfy people that don't have the luxury of doing that. And that's why I think bigger drops, 2 to 3 a year, bigger ones, it satisfies the person who wants to play as much as they want to play and never be able to complete everything. But it also, there's plenty to do for a much longer period of time. It might take someone else a longer period of time to complete all that, but they'll still be able to get it done.
Yeah. That's what I thought was so interesting, is that we don't know what's coming after Shadowkeep in it. And what I'm hearing is a lot of people like the DLC model almost with a big release. But what we get with that we're not getting, and maybe they can fix it, is like, the strikes, some more missions. Like, just Shattered Throne was amazing. The Ascendant Challenge stuff, but that was only with Forsaken, and then we just didn't get any more of that. So if they do the same thing again this year, that's what I was leading towards. I can't go another year or two. I'll last another year or two, but we need a lot more than that. But that's why I think we need Destiny 3 regardless in a few years, personally.
Well,
I would prefer Destiny 3. Like, yeah, for sure. I just don't want them to rush it. Take their time.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think the seasons can actually feel a lot better if they legit leaned into world drop refreshes. Vendors get a refresh. There's new perks in the pools for things to roll with. Like, even if it's a reskin of gun models or whatever, as long as there's different stats and new names for things to chase, it at least makes it more interesting when you see that engram drop on the ground. You're not like, again, another Tangled Shore crap that I could care less about, automatic dismantle. You get it to a certain point where all legendaries are automatic dismantles for you. And that's their problem right now, is that, or at least for me, is that a lot of that time, that grind just results in the exact same stuff that you're seeing. So if they could fix that with world drops, and then also introduce new strikes and PvP maps with each season, because that's part of your rotational content that you play all the time, I think the seasons would actually get a lot more, or a better reception than what they've been getting recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just really want like a strike and maybe one mission or something new, but especially a strike, man. That would be 4 of those a year. God, just imagine.
Just when you see a Go figure again, you're like, okay.
Yeah. By the way, did we mention that it's called Season of the Undying, apparently?
Oh, didn't know that.
So that's what it's called. I saw that on the pre-order page. It says you get the season pass for Season of the Undying. There is an asterisk next to it, but that seems to be sticking. And then if you pre-order, you also get Two-Tailed Fox. So just FYI.
Nice.
Interesting.
Did you say weird, Briar?
Yeah.
That's what Two-Tailed Foxes come to.
A pre-order bonus. What if I already have it? I just get nothing?
I guess.
That's strange.
That is so bad.
Guys, we are 2 hours into this podcast. We haven't talked about the raid and the contest rules and all
transition
that.
over to the raid. I did want to mention, though, in the transition between Shadowkeep and the raid, is we had the weird lead up to the raid this time, right? Is the raid has always been done on a Friday. We've always had a few days to get raid ready between like the release of a DLC and the raid actually coming out. What I think is interesting is that between the Tuesday and the Friday that the raid would have been on, if they kept to that schedule, we got the Google Stadia announcement where they basically announced Shadowkeep before Bungie did. Do you guys think that was why the raid was on Tuesday? Was because they knew Shadowkeep was coming out, or Shadowkeep was getting the press on
interesting.
Thursday?
Didn't think about that.
So the raid race, I think, is an important press day for Destiny, right? It's the top of the Twitch directory. You know, it's very big on YouTube, very big on social media. It's a big event for Destiny, and it might have gotten covered up a little bit by the Shadowkeep stuff. Do you think that's why they pushed the raid up to the release day of the expansion, or not the expansion, the season pass?
I'll let you guys go first. I have definitely a response.
That lines up. I think it's weird that they dropped it like 6 hours after the content drop. Honestly, and I was kind of like, why would they do that? And when you say that, that makes sense. They don't want those two stories being packed into each other.
What about you, Glad? What do you think? Don't care.
It's just I don't know. Conspiracies could be not.
Tinfoil.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I have thoughts on how their process should work, but
I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So my quick answer was I think it's a little convenient that it lines up that they would get in the way of each other. But I think frankly they just said, look, we want to try something new. And the end of all the seasons, they were like, let's just try this because now they've got the data, they've got the feedback going forward to think about. I think they were willing to take a risk. I think it was a lot less about a Stadia announcement and the future of Destiny 2 because they could have waited on some of that stuff. Although the Stadia stuff's a lot of pressure.
Honestly, it lines up, man. Every time there's news about Destiny. No, seriously, every time there's news about Destiny, it gets lots of press. And every time there's a raid, lots of press. So to have those smashed together, Briar's right. It makes sense to be like, well, the tough decision is we got to make it on Tuesday to get that out of the way before people know what's coming next.
Maybe. And I guess I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I felt like the raid was rushed with Last Wish. And I felt like they did it for the marketing push of they have to get it out before it's too long. And in other words, I was in the camp of like, please just give me like 3 weeks to a month. I don't want this to be about playing 10 hours a day. So yeah, maybe it was a marketing thing.
Well, let's talk about how we feel about
Let's talk about it. Yeah,
the contest and all that.
I think there's two things that need to be kind of separate about the lead up to the raid. Right, is that there's the actual 6-hour window of getting your character kind of powered up, and then there's also the rules that I'm sorry, what was the specific term they used where you were level capped in each encounter?
Yeah, it was contest rules,
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Contest rules. Okay. Glad, what did you think about the 6-hour lead up in the contest rules?
So so I've always said that my idea was you should just make it so that you cannot get above a certain power before a raid. So let's say, for example, Last Wish, you just could not physically get above, what was it? 650 was
550.
What was it?
The recommended entry
550 was recommended.
550.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So let's say you just could not get above 550, and no matter how many powerfuls you did, it just capped. It until the raid was beat. Let's say for like the first week or whatever. But then the issue that I saw with that idea was, well, that's going to kind of turn people off because once you start grinding and because they give you 2 weeks and you hit that power cap, you're just like, okay, well, everything from here on out's kind of like
a waste of time because it's power level capped.
So what they did with the contest, I think, is the best possible solution they could have done. I think that whoever came up with that idea is freaking genius because what that did for anybody that's not familiar with how it worked is the raid stayed the same power. So the final boss is 735, and it basically made your character, once you hit 720, that was it. You were no longer, every power level above that didn't do anything for you.
Pure
skill. So what that did is that gave you an even playing field at the final, throughout the entire raid. So it was hard. That raid day one during the contest was very difficult, for sure. Only 104 teams completed the raid in 24 hours, which is, how many teams do you think were going for it?
Right.
How many thousands?
A lot more than that.
Hundreds.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Most of them PC.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, only one on console got it done.
Cats.
So I have thoughts about the whole PC console thing too. But anyway, so I think the way that they allowed us to level was horrible.
Yep.
I think the 6 hours, all that it did is it just stressed people the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
It made people worry. Every drop that they didn't get what they needed, just you were mad. It irritated people, and it forced people to get up way earlier than they needed to dive into a raid to play for 24 hours to try to get a 24-hour emblem. So if you wanted to get a 24-hour emblem, you knew, okay, I got to be up for 30 hours today. Some people can't do that. Some people don't have the time to do that. Some people just, their minds aren't ready.
Nobody
for that.
should do it.
It's unhealthy.
Nobody
unhealthy.
should do it.
It's like
you shouldn't sit there playing a video game for 30 hours, no matter what.
You should be able to wait. You should be able to grind, go to bed, wake up, get a coffee, or some G Fuel, and get right on. You know what I mean? And that was my only complaint. I think they should have at least given a day. At least a day. At least. Just give us Tuesday, raid drops Wednesday.
That would have been great, right?
Yeah, at least a day. I mean, I say at least because 2 would have been fine. Friday raid release would have been fine as well. But once again, you also start nearing that. If you give too long to go up 20 power levels, then you start turning people off again. So I think like 1 or 2 days would have been perfect. And I hope that they continue to do the contest going forward. But I hope that they don't give us this 6-hour crap.
Glad about 2.5 weeks ago, I hadn't played any season of Gambit. So all my characters, I think my highest character was like 650. And it was my Hunter. And I think my lowest character was like 635. And it was my Titan. So I realized I want to do this raid race. So I'm going to have to grind power level for 2 weeks to make sure I have 700 level characters so that I go into that 6 hours, with 700 characters. And then plus, we started, you wanted to save certain things so that you could just turn them in that 6 hours. So what I had done is I had grinded for 2.5 weeks straight, like a lot of hours. I think I told Tefty and Watts on SideQuest that I think I watched 5.5 seasons of Supernatural while I was grinding just on the side screen, right? So I ground hard to get up to 700. It was so frustrating. For those 6 hours I played with CC Coon and Miss 5000 Watts, and I had 6 hours to get my Titan up to 720 is where I wanted to be, and it was completely random. The drops were like I got 4 drops in a row on my arms, right? My arm armor. So it was just like I just hit a hard stop. So for me, going for 2.5 weeks to prep and then having 6 hours is all that matters, and it's completely RNG focused. Like I have no influence over, like, am I going to get the drops I need? Was so screwed. Infuriating. And to watch, like, CC made like 6 more power light levels than I did, and we did the same exact activities together.
Yep. Huge problem.
It was really frustrating. I did not like that 6-hour window at all.
Yeah, nobody did. I think everyone had just stressed everybody out. It was just like this unnecessary just aggravation that was forced onto everybody, and then and raid days are already very tense, very stressful, everybody's high in emotions, everybody gets super competitive, and the last thing that you want to do is put people through the most stressful thing ever and then throw them into a raid because you're already like, already pissed.
If the raid was coming out tomorrow, we would have had all this time, because we already know 720 is the cap, so you would have casually gotten your characters up to 720. You would have had a little bit of time to infuse the stuff that you wanted. You wouldn't have to be like making hard decisions about like, oh, like I only got one primary weapon that's 720. What am I going to infuse it into? You're not completely basing your raid prep on you have 20 power drops.
Honestly, I think 1 day is perfect, because 1 day means that you have to manage your time. You have to manage it to like be able to grind for 1 day, get the things that you need, and also make sure you get some sleep and you refresh and all that. Like I think
full night of sleep, food, all that.
If you stay up 24 hours grinding, that's your fault. Like you burnt your energy on that. Like so, I think 1 day is great personally. Like you have to plan it, and you can do your grind, and then you can still be fresh for a raid and be mentally prepared.
I don't agree, because maybe one guy gets well, I got up to 725 in 8 hours, and now I'm going to have a nice restful sleep, and then I'm going to be fresh for raid day. And meanwhile, I've got bad RNG. I made it up to 715, doing all the same activities you did in 8 hours.
But what if they fix the
I got
RNG
fucked by
aspect?
RNG. So now I've got to stay up for another 6 hours because RNG fucked me.
But what if
But
they?
at least you
If it
don't
was-
have to go right into a raid, and at least you have the option.
No,
of
but maybe
sleep.
I'm working off of 4 hours of sleep instead of Tefty's 8 because he got good RNG and I got bad RNG. If with 3 days, you get 3 days to play and you can relax a little more. I think because there's already a power limit cap because of contest, like why not just give us a little more time to enjoy the content that's there, to play Menagerie a little bit, to get power drops. Like why rush that?
Because they
Why rush
gotta
that 6
announce
hours a day?
Shadowkeep, man. It's on the docket.
I think I'd love to ask if we can earmark this if we have time, but about the intensity of contests, because I do love a ton about it. All I wanted to say on the matter was, so one, yes, I think contests is awesome. I've been asking for something like it since Last Wish, where I flipped out because I felt left out. I got to watch, you Glad and others, and I was at work and wasn't able to do it. I felt like I did 5-6 hours a day, playing till 2 a.m., getting up at 7 or 8 in the morning, and like it almost killed me. And I didn't get in, basically. I got in, but my light level was like 730 something. It just didn't work out, and I felt left out because of it. So I'm glad they are fixing that a lot. And so for me, all I will repeat, as I always say, is power per hour. The developers should know the power on the map and be able to say, you know what, you're going to get 2 to 3. The RNG needs to be fixed, but 2 or 3 an hour. They should just be able to predict if you can get to, if they wanted us to be at 715 on entry, they should have an average, So I love that, meaning I feel like they got really close with this. I entered around 715. It's a couple power per hour-ish, as long as your RNG doesn't suck. And I didn't want to do it on the first day, though. I totally agree with you guys. You should have heard me.
Just mentally burnt.
I needed like a paper bag. I was like, Tef's like, dude, you all right? I was like, no, I'm not all right. You guys are right. It was like a ton of stress.
These tethers?
Yes. And then, like you said, Glad, I was so happy to hear that someone like you who is, you work so hard to get what you guys get. I didn't know how you'd feel about the matter, but that you want people to get the right amount of sleep. You want it to be a healthy experience.
For sure, man. Yeah. I care very much about, the whole community, and I care even more about a fair raid race and the whole Scourge raid race. I love the raid. I think it's wonderful, but it just was really upsetting to me how unfair the race was because of how people were max power. Going into the raid, and it just really turned me off. And I think this doesn't take away from the people that completed, got top 5 or world's first or anything for Scourge, but I think Scourge was the worst world's first raid race Destiny's ever had because of people were max power. So it just took, because there's figuring out puzzles, there's being able to optimize and do enough damage, and they're staying alive. And with Scourge, staying alive and doing damage were just taken out of the equation entirely. So it was figure out the mechanic and then just smoke it.
Yeah.
And it was it sucked.
Yeah.
I know.
With the contest stuff, I think it's perfect. They just have to now figure out the right number of days. To set that up, because I really do like that. Okay, and they did it to where I believe your armor just gets reduced to the minimum or the maximum of that encounter allows. So it seems like it's the perfect setup.
So since I know you don't have a lot of time, I totally agree. Whether it's 1 day after or 3, they're like right there. That makes a ton of sense. But and maybe it's a topic for another time, but I think there's a discussion to be had of if we're worried again that after contest is done that it's too easy. We're almost in this zone of like, wait, do we need a secondary level of like, because in other words, all I wanted to bring up is, man, it was hard for 100 teams to finish only on PC.
Oh yeah.
I love the competition. I think for folks like, I don't know if you like it that way, Glad, but I think it's amazing to have that level of play, but I'm not that good. So now I feel left out. And so I almost feel like I need a second tier, like I'm almost good. But you know what I mean? I worked really hard, and then I don't want it to be too easy on the backside of contest, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, this is the pinnacle, highest, most intense, hardcore PvE part of Destiny, and I will always stand by when I say it should feel really difficult day one. I mean, it's just if you're not able to deal with it, if you're not able to play enough to grind, to understand the game as well as other people, that's just the name of the game. It should provide that sort of experience that, you know, you would expect from a high level pinnacle of PvE activity.
And contest gives that to you, and then turns it off in 24 hours. Now it's accessible to anybody.
Now it's good.
Grind your light up, and it's going to be easier for you.
Have you done the raid now? It's so easy. Well, it's much easier, I should say. Yeah. It's still a very difficult encounter. Their final boss fight is no joke.
You helped us get through the raid last night.
Yeah.
And I haven't touched Destiny since.
It's totally different. It's totally different. If you do it now, it's so you notice immediately. You hop in and it's like, you know, you get those extra couple powers, and it's definitely different. You know, if you get up above the 730.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's designed to be accessible that way, but the contest is supposed to be difficult. Fran, I think they would have a problem with it if nobody cleared it in 24 hours. Then that's a different situation. Yeah. But 100 teams clearing it in 24 hours, I mean, that's, like I said, it's the pinnacle PvE activity.
Yeah,
it is concerning that only one team on PS4 did it, though.
Yeah, so I do respect how difficult it is. In fact, it makes me want to be better. It makes me realize some of the errors of my ways. I never got Mountaintop. Not that that would have solved everything, but part of it, I think, is good because 100 teams getting an emblem in 24 hours, well-deserved and amazing. It has that exclusivity. But how do you – I want to solve two things. One, how do you solve us staying up for 18 hours? And I'm curious if you agree with that experience, Glad. And two, what's going on console? I mean, that does not seem fair. What's going on? Something's off.
Yeah. So here's my honest opinion on console. I don't think. I mean, what are your main advantages on PC and console? Your biggest advantage is probably, you know, load time, stuff like that. Mouse, maybe a little bit more precise aim with some of your weapons, but when it comes to world's first races, load times don't matter. FOV doesn't matter. Frames don't matter. Being able to aim with a mouse and a controller doesn't matter. It's not. World's first is all about working together with your team, figuring out a mechanic, and then doing it next try. Those things don't matter. I think people, a huge, it's not so much the platform that you're playing on, it's the players that are playing on that platform. And a lot of people, you know, if a game like Destiny is available on console and available on PC, a lot of the super dedicated, really hardcore people are moving to the PC platform. So I think you have just, I don't want to say like better players. I just want to say more dedicated, more group, more team oriented players on PC. And I honestly feel that way. And I think there's definitely a wrong correlation there.
I don't know, man. Like I think once cross save comes out, I'd love you to try and because you haven't had to go back. But in other words, when I think of without, I don't know if we're spoiling raid details, but Pepe hands, how freaking fast at 60 frames, 100 frames, you're knocking down that stun thing. I mean, on console, can you imagine with that extra stagger too? I think it's definitely an issue, and it makes me wonder what did they balance?
I thought that.
I think
just real quick, I thought that on Riven's Eyes as well. Then other people said no, it's actually super easy to shoot Riven's Eyes on console, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's not an issue of that. It's the players working together.
Here's my argument: if you take a really good team, a top tier team, let's say you take Dato's team, and you say for this world's first race, you're going to be playing on console, guarantee you they would be in that group, that 24-hour group, 100%. You take our team and you put us on console, I can promise you we would have been in that world's first 24-hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It goes back to my point. A good like team that knows what they're doing and works together. It doesn't matter what you're playing on. You're gonna get it done. I think it's just there's more people, more groups that are coordinated on PC is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I
want to
point out
serious
also
about Destiny wanted to play the best version of it.
Exactly. Like the people that play on multiple platforms or streamers or whatever, like you're gonna choose PC. Yeah. And you're gonna choose it with all your squad that knows everything about the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to point out, hold up. I want to point out that if you eliminate the PC side of the history of Destiny, a lot of the same teams and clans were getting world's first in D1 on console.
Yeah.
So
it's the teams.
Suddenly
it's
they've moved over.
They've
moved over to PC because technically they want the best looking platform, the most satisfying platform to play on. So like I feel like that hardcore player base has just decided to be home base on PC.
Yeah, I totally understand the point. I think you are right. There's a lot more elite level of play, not just because it's PC, but a lot of us did seek it out. Like it's so much better. But would you? I just want to get to the heart of it with you guys. Do you not think it's at all easier on PC?
I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that it is. There are clearly things that might be better and might make things a little bit easier. I'm definitely not saying that. If I said Destiny 2, some of the things that I can do on Destiny 2 on PC might be more difficult on console. Yeah, I think that's a true statement. But for world's first races, it's not about speedruns and it's about coordination with your team and knowing what to do and completing it when you need to complete it. It doesn't have to do so much with all the things that I listed earlier.
Yeah.
But it was a bummer that maybe it took so. Well, yeah, I guess maybe you're right. A lot of those teams moved, and it was just so hard that only if it was designed that only 100 teams were going to do it, most of those teams were on PC. But
and it's going to continue to be that way. Every world's first race is going to be more PC than console. It's always going to be like that. And I think it's just a lot of. I don't know.
Stadia, it's coming.
Stadia's coming in hot, man.
You have to use a controller, probably.
Yeah. I mean, and last thing I'll say is, if you took everybody and Bungie was like, everyone's got to play on console, all teams, I am willing to bet that you're going to see very similar names in the top 100,
100% agree.
no matter what they play on.
Yeah, because it's the most dedicated player base. Like
yeah.
I see that.
All right, let's talk about the raid.
Yes. We're 2 hours and 21 minutes into this podcast.
Good. We didn't spoil anything until now, which is good too, actually.
Yeah. From here on out, spoilers are allowed. Like if we're talking about the raid is out there now. If you don't want to hear anything spoilery about the raid, about the encounters, about what happens in the raid, like this is it. We're not talking about anything else after this. We're gonna skip Twitter questions because we're already running super long. I'll try and add some of the Twitter questions that were asked this week to next week, but I feel like we answered most of them, to be honest, while we were talking about the topics that we've already talked about. What did you guys think of the raid? How was the experience? Well, was it a good raid? Did you like it? Like, let's talk about it.
Glad.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. I think everything that Bungie does with Vicarious Visions is wonderful because the cool thing about this raid is the teamwork involved. There's so much going on, and you're trying to communicate the mechanics, but they're not shitty mechanics. They're not you must go here and stand on this plate and then swap here. It's there's a lot of freedom and like the whole raid can besides phase 1 can be done with 2 people, at least for now. So it's not limiting. It's not requiring 6 people because of goofy plate mechanics or something like that, but it still requires a crazy amount of danger throughout the fight and a lot of teamwork and coordination and things that you got to communicate. I mean, that final boss fight is, I think, amazing, next level, just because of everything that you have to pay attention to all at once. It feels very overwhelming and very there's a lot of stuff swarming on you, and it was very difficult. So I thought it was great. A little short again, for sure. I think once everybody gets up to max power, you're going to be able to blow through it. But just like Scourge, I think it's a good raid. I just think it's a little short. Would have liked maybe one more encounter in there. But other than that, I have no complaints on it.
Yeah,
Did you have a favorite of the 3 encounters? Oh,
definitely the boss fight. Yeah. I think the very first entrance, they could have dropped one of the phases, one of the lanterns, and just did 3. I think the 4 seems a little drawn out, and my fear is that once people start doing this raid and Sherpas are happening and stuff like that, the very first encounter is gonna be that one that everyone's just kind of like, you just want it to be over at this point. But the jumping puzzle was, how about that? That was creative.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That was cool. That was definitely their best jumping puzzle ever out of any raid. because it was mechanics that could wipe you and a jumping puzzle at the same time.
And teamwork.
Yep.
Yeah.
The-
Now imagine
what was-
if a hard mode comes out and they have enemies shooting you at the same time.
That'd be cool.
What are you gonna say?
The what was the one? I can't remember which raid had the one where you had to wait for the platforms to
Argos.
come up, and then
Argos.
like
yeah.
you were in like a line of bunnies.
Oh
Which one was it?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
Argos.
didn't like that personally.
I didn't like that one because you're just waiting, right? And you're like
yeah.
in a line. This one felt dynamic. Like the jumping
Mhm.
puzzle was like, all right, there's a crystal over here. Let's shoot this crystal. Oh, this one's got to be punched. We got to run to that
Mhm.
one. And you're
And then you
jumping
were
around.
like, just I need somebody with the buff. I need somebody with the buff. Like
Yeah.
I liked how the whole raid
Yeah.
took this one mechanic of swapping and then just
Yeah.
kept building on it and building on it and building on it. And and that's typically what Bungie does. But this mechanic is actually really cool. And I do want to say something. A lot of people, thought that everyone had to get into the circle to transfer the buff, but you actually can steal buffs from people outside of the circle. Just for people that don't know this, we talked about it, so you guys knew about it. But what I mean is, if one person needs a buff and another person, or if one person has a buff and needs it taken from them, the person with the blessing buff can stand in the circle, and somebody without the buff can shoot the crystal while the person in the circle shoots the crystal, and it rotates the buff with the player in the circle. So that's kind of how that works. I thought that mechanic is really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like raids that require a lot of movement. I tend not to like raids where I have to stand in one spot and shoot a thing for
Exactly.
extended amounts of time.
King's Fall.
I liked King's Fall when it came out. I thought it was like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But like after doing it for like a year, what really became apparent was like I'm just standing on plates, for prolonged periods of time, trying not to get shot until I can do damage. This raid, in all three phases, or all three encounters, I felt like I'm moving around. I got a lot of stuff to keep track of. Communication was key. It wasn't just. It wasn't about boss damage as much as it was about staying alive, add control, managing, the buff. It felt dynamic and it felt fun in a way that, I really thought they nailed it. The second encounter I felt was the weakest one, where a lot of the time I was just standing on top of a pillar, taking down, wizards, like waiting for the damage phase to go melee the bather.
Mm-hmm.
But the final boss phase I thought was fantastic. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, just to lean into what you guys said, I really liked that teamwork was so important, and then actually glad per evidence of, we basically almost finished it. We were two-phasing as a DCP live team all the time with Watts and you, Brian, and everyone, right?
Yeah.
We were doing it effectively. We just didn't quite have the DPS. And then you
Yeah.
and Chevy showed up. And what I thought was going to happen, because I didn't watch the video at that time, but you had, sort of one-phased and nuked the boss. I thought, okay, well, now I'm going to get a carry. Part of me was feeling a little bummed that I just wanted to get it done, though, but I thought that's what was going to happen. And when I found out, you and Chevy just took one side. I stayed with Teft. In other words, I still had to do everything I already knew how to do.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You had to do the
You
encounter.
guys murdered it, dude. We did. By the way, we did that second try.
Yeah.
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 Just want to point out, freaking champions.
Yeah, for anybody who wasn't watching, we in the first raid stream, we got to the final boss, but we're exhausted, and for me it was 7 a.m. and it was time to quit. Right, it was time to go.
18 hours.
I had to say goodbye to the kids so they could go to school and pass out somewhere. So we got back together the next day. For me, it was, I believe, 4 p.m. I think for Tefty and Fran, it was
Noon.
1 p.m.
No, we got on at noon. Yeah.
Okay, so it was, and then we thought we were just gonna beat it and get the 24-hour challenge done, but we ended up doing basically another 10 hours in that final boss fight, and we were close the whole time, but we just couldn't get 2 phases where we got more than 50% damage in a row.
It was
And
consistently
we could never
getting
get through a
50.
third phase because we always ran out of power ammo. And unfortunately, CC Kuhn and Watts, they just were exhausted, and I think Watts is unfortunately suffering from the effects.
Yeah, I
of
think she's paying
that
for it right now.
now.
Yeah.
So kindly, you and Chevy came in and helped us out, and in 2 runs we were able to do it. But I think the big difference was you guys brought DPS that we just didn't have. You had extra mountaintops, you had anarchy, and our team just didn't have those things. And quickly two-faced it, and we're out of there. And you guys also, brought, I think, a level of freshness and communication that we were lacking after 10 hours of being together.
We love that stuff, man. I live for Destiny raids. They're the best. They're an experience that is so unique to Destiny, and you just don't get stuff like that anywhere else. You really don't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was really sad that CC and Watts didn't get to be on the team when we finally beat it, but we're going to play again on Friday.
Yeah.
And do it together. I got to say, though, it's one of my favorite things doing the Destiny raid when it comes out, right? It's it's going to be hard, but you're going to do it with friends. Or I'm lucky, I guess. I get to do it with friends. It was my first time doing it with Fran this time, and I got to say, Fran, you fit right in, man. It was like jokes and good times, and everybody, nobody's yelling at each other, and we're super lucky that we have a group of people that, we're just not, super like.
Yeah, it could have gone off the rails if I was super intense, and I've been in those groups where I'm like, you know what, I got to step out, and shout out to Glad too.
It stayed fun the whole time.
Yeah,
like there was one point where we decided that to get extra DPS, I was playing on a Titan, and I was just using hammers because. It was, every once in a while I'd get into trouble with a knight or something, and I'd pop the hammers just to quickly take down some ads that, for whatever reason I was behind on. And we decided I'd switch to Sentinel so I could use the shield to do more DPS on the boss phase. And I had forgotten. It was like the second time through with the Sentinel, and I popped my super to take care of a knight. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm a Sentinel. And I was trying to go shield bash him, but for some reason I was next to one of the urns that you use to change your polarity. And my Sentinel, even though I was looking straight ahead at a taken knight who was shooting me in the face, my Sentinel only wanted to target that urn that was directly to my right. It just starts bashing the urn. And my teammate Joker is looking at me, and he starts cracking up because... and I start cracking. Those things are just fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We still had tons of fun, even though we're getting smashed, and that was the sign of a good raid.
Yeah. Raid day's fun.
I had a fast question for Glad that had come up. I had heard something about you had suggested getting in front of the Axe Slam, and it got laughed off or something. This was a question on Twitter. Did that happen, that you had a suggestion that kind of got brushed off? And how did you feel about that as someone who mentioned something and you guys kind of moved on from it?
So we got to the boss really quick. I don't know if we were the first one there. We might have been, but we got to the boss pretty fast. And nobody had known how to do the boss. Like, sometimes stuff gets, spilt or leaked over and you kind of hear about it. And his hand started glowing, and I just took it upon myself. I was like, all right, this whole run, I'm not going to do anything but just shoot the hand. I just want to see what this happens. And I shoot the hand, and he brings this huge axe out and slams it on the ground, and no one said anything. No one in the team said a word.
Didn't comment on the giant axe.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so we wipe, and then we do it again, and then I'm like, I'm gonna shoot the hand again. I shoot the hand again, and he pulls out another axe and he slams on the ground, and then we wiped immediately after, and I was like, all right, guys, listen, this is gonna sound fucking stupid, okay? But what if these guys are so beefy? I find it hard that we have to kill these massive guys. They have so much health. What if you take the guy's shield down and then you shoot his hand, and then he takes the axe and he slams it down and he kills the guy? And my whole team just laughed at me, and they're like, you're fucking dumb. Just shut up. That's stupid. And I was like, bro, what if that's how you do it? And I was like, let's just try it. And they're like, nah, you're dumb. And I'm like, okay, let's just try it. And then a couple people were like, it's worth a shot. And we did it. First try. Boom. The guy blows up. And I think Flesh was just like, Glad. Good shit, Glad. I fucking hate you that works, but good shit. and then we knew exactly what to do. But we got beat by we ended up getting beat by Be Bold. Congrats to them, by the way. Huge.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I was super stoked that they got it because I wanted them or Dado to win. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I can only imagine how pumped they were.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
there was a few things like that in our. I told CC, I was like, I'm pretty sure you can slap the shield and not have to melee the guy directly, like inside his bubble thing. And CC was like, no, that is definitely not the case. Not even, and like clearly you could slap the shield just outside of them so you don't get like sucked into them. Yeah, and then also CC didn't believe that you were that you wouldn't take damage from projectiles in the crystal shield.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he's like, no, you can definitely take damage in there. I was like, nah, man, you can sit in there.
Yeah, I was talking to you about that, right, Teft? Is that when you're in the raid, things are just working well enough, and you kind of feel like you're getting to that next sliver of progress that you stick to it. And what I said to Teft after, I'm like, I look back, I'm like, man, I wish I could have just experimented a bit more. And I even remember saying, I was like, guys, I was under the dude, and like none of the flames were hitting me, and it was just like quiet. But I didn't have a suggestion, to be fair. But I was like, I don't know, maybe that's something. And then, but you look back on it, you're like, I wish we could have.
Yeah, that was basically the strat. Yeah, to put the well up there.
You got to deal with that pressure.
Yep.
Of, do I want to suggest something that, and that's kind of the point I'm coming around to. Do you have the courage to suggest something that people might just laugh at? And what's your team composition like? I think all that's really important.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun. Raid Day's fun. Solving those puzzles is just it's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why for me, and I think it's a cool question to ask everyone here now, is that what do you think of the byproduct of when you get something that is this difficult, that only 100 people kind of get to be the first, 100 teams, get to be the first to beat it? Spoilers, don't they become more rampant, and do you feel like it takes away from anybody else's experience? And how,
If you don't want spoilers, you can avoid them. I mean, if you want to go in blind a week after the raid launches, just don't look anything up. Don't go on Reddit. Don't go on YouTube. Don't go on Twitch. Like, just say, hey, we're just gonna go in blind, go in by ourselves. I mean, I think spoilers. It's like, yeah, spoilers. If you get something spoiled to you, that's your own damn fault, as far as I'm concerned.
But you got to get a team of 5 other people that aren't gonna now go.
You just all agree. You just say, hey, let's, we all can't do it day one. When can you guys do it? Let's all just have a gentleman's pact. We're not gonna go on any social media and look at anything going blind. Some people prefer that.
Yeah, it was a loaded question because I did Last Wish blind. It was so difficult. And I understand, like, yeah, just find the right team. But, man, I had to search far and wide, and I had people even coming in that would get a little farther, and there'd be someone who didn't know anything or did and said they wouldn't say anything, but it started turning into, like, they'd start saying, it made it really hard. They'd say things like, well, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, why you just – so, yes, I agree with you. Like, dude, just avoid spoilers. But because of the raid, it's really hard, and I think that's why you go back to, I don't have the solution. I feel like there's this tier 2 opportunity of, like, I don't want it to be too easy after, but I don't want things spoiled for me. Somewhere in the middle, but it's tough to solve.
I feel like if you're in that category, though, you kind of have to set yourself up for that. Like, if you don't want to be spoiled on a movie release and you're going the day it gets released, like, you're making time for that. So you kind of have to do that also with this game. If you want to go in completely blind and not have any kind of issues with somebody spoiling it, you got to set it up and be like, we got to go in day one.
Yeah, but that's why we had to do 18 hours. Like, that's, again, the byproduct. I couldn't just go to bed. I didn't care as much about the emblem. I cared about the spoilers, actually. That was
day one's not possible for, like, 99% of the population, too. I mean, we are content creators. We don't have day jobs. We can devote, 2 days straight to just playing a video game. Most people have jobs. They have families. You can't take Tuesday and Wednesday off to do
that's what I mean. I would just put, I hope there's still a solution to come for that because... I don't know. It's hard. I did it. It took me until December, by the way, to do Last Wish, and I did.
You did Last Wish blind up until December?
I got up to first. We got up to second encounter. What's her name? Shirochi jumping around. I didn't get to vault until it was just hard to put a team together. There was a bunch of other games out.
I can imagine.
Long story short,
Fran. Good Lord.
It is so special to me doing the raids. That's all, and I just hope that they can look into some solution for those people. But I do love...
Well, you got a raid team for the next one, Frank.
That's right. And 18 hours of playthrough, so...
Yeah, honestly, I don't think there's a solution they could do with that.
Nah, not at all. It's like...
No.
Yeah. All right.
Indeed.
Is that all we want to talk about on the raid? Is there more? Oh, loot wise, I got Bane of Sorrow. Looked cool.
Yeah,
Looked like
I got
it.
Bane of Sorrow too. I like it.
Yeah, you like
Wait,
it?
what is it again?
It's the machine gun.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you,
I also got the scout rifle, and it was like the
scout rifle.
special roll of the scout rifle, so I immediately infused it.
Anybody glad? Did you get a chance for the exotic by any chance?
I got a couple of weapons that looked like they were left out in the rain for 2 weeks.
Yes, they got
Yeah.
tetanus on them, right?
Freaking ugly ass guns. No exotic though. I ran it on all 3 characters. No exotic.
Gotcha.
So I'll try next week.
What is the exotic? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't
it's
even
an
know.
SMG. It's an exotic SMG. I'm allowed to talk about it now. I played with it at the summit. And as you're dealing damage with it, it charges up this meter, and then when the meter's full, you hold the reload button, and it's something called something of the beast, and it turns the SMG just into like a super powered just monster. It just
Whoa. Cool.
mows people down, has fast reload, fires bullets quicker, they do more damage.
So
Yeah,
like,
it's called TWAB, I guess.
so like a bigger
Sounds
recluse.
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how good it is. I mean now, because things that you play early on aren't always the final product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty fun when I was messing with it.
That's cool. Yeah, I got the shotgun, which I didn't get to try or do much with. It looked a little like, what did we think? What did we think the shotgun looked like, Taft? You said it yesterday.
Oh, Found Verdict.
Found Verdict.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Found Verdict model.
From Fog.
From Frog,
but-
yeah.
So maybe it's a throwback to that. I don't know.
It looked like all of them were like relics that had been salvaged because they looked like they had covered in rust.
Right. Yeah, maybe that's the story. Is like, Callus picked him up.
Mm-hmm.
The HMG is like that super slow firing variant that in Destiny 1 could 2-shot an enemy in the Crucible.
Oh yeah, I forgot
got
about
2
that.
headshots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't brought it into the Crucible. I doubt it can do it.
It's probably a
anymore,
3.
but- yeah, but that was the archetype back in Destiny 1.
Yeah, what was up with the glowing runes in the skull? Any word on that yet?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Was
You
that a
showed
skull
us.
or a helmet? That wasn't a skull, was it?
Helmet,
Well,
skull, something.
It's his like head, sort. Yeah, like the bones of his head or helmet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
a
Glad
cool
said-
effect how that thing pops off.
Mm-hmm. That was really cool.
I was just say, Glad, since people maybe don't know what we're talking about, could you describe what?
Yeah, but when you kill the boss, his big head that looks like something from Twilight Princess, if you ever played Zelda,
Yeah.
falls on the ground and it always lands. It always lands upright, and you can walk. Crown of Sorrow. I guess that makes sense. And you can walk in.
Chat
And
is
when
just
you,
typing Crown of Sorrow over
Yeah,
and
like,
over
it's
again.
literally his
Hey, we're
crown.
tired, everybody.
Crown of
Relax.
Sorrow.
when you walk
But-
in, you look up, and there's these green like the stuff that comes out of the smoke clouds from like Destiny 1, the green
Yeah,
hieroglyphics.
hive,
It's that
yeah.
stuff like on the inside of the crown. I don't know if there's anything with that. I mean, it's pretty cool though.
Seems
Probably.
hive related though, right? Even though it's a Cabal boss, it
Definitely,
seems hive related.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost seemed like Crota-esque. And what my
Mhm.
guess is there's one more secret mission before the release of Shadowkeep.
Yeah.
And maybe this is what that leads up to. Like a new old like what would be the old exotic you get back, I wonder.
Necrochasm?
Yacrocasm, that's what I was gonna say.
Well, Bad Juju has a what do you call it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bad Juju.
Yeah.
There's like
Bad
a
Juju's
weak
going to be in
ornament
the
or
system.
something.
Yeah.
Maybe,
We also didn't kill Callus, so Callus is still out there.
yeah, no
He's-
Callus cutscene either. What's up with that?
He's just giving us
He's still
motivation.
kicking around the
man.
neighborhood.
He's like, oh, harder enemies. By the way,
Yeah.
Menagerie. We didn't talk about it.
Oh, right, Menagerie.
What do you guys
I
think?
really like it. Like, I really, really like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I only played it twice, though, so
Same.
There's like
Loot
50.
system's cool.
Yeah.
Triumphs are actually a little challenging to get, so that's cool as well. But I really like how you can pick your loot. It takes away from grinding stuff like the Reckoning and not feeling like your
So much
grind is
better.
rewarding, because the Reckoning is probably the most unrewarded grind in history.
100% agree. Every time I'd step in the Reckoning, I'm like, I'm going to get spare rations. 3 rounds
Never.
later, I'm like, I cannot do this.
The loot pool is just too big. There's just too many guns that drop from the same thing, and then when you finally do get it, your chances of getting a decent roll are just ass.
And the activity
So
is just very boring when you've done it 3 times in a row.
Oh, it's incredibly boring.
Super boring.
Tier 2 is the worst, right? Because Tier 1 is easy enough that new players can get through it. Tier 3, it's like people who've done it a ton of times, so they know what they're doing. Tier 2 is in between. I'm not good enough to get to Tier 3, or I haven't done it enough to get to Tier 3. But I've only done it a few times. Like I'm not that committed to doing Reckoning over and over again. So I'm only Tier 2. I had to do so many Tier 2 runs leveling up in the last 2 weeks. I'm never touching Reckoning again.
It's really nice how you can pick. You know what you're gonna get guaranteed.
Yes.
Yeah.
You say, I want this hand
it.
cannon. I know that this activity that I'm about to do with these other 5 people, which is already fun, and it's random, different rooms. I know at the end I complete it. I'm like, got my hand cannon. You get the hand cannon, you check. Do you get the rolls? Not the rolls I run it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but I love the fact it feels extremely rewarding with the way that they're doing the being able to pick your loot without taking out the
six-man
RNG
activity. It's a 6-man activity too that's match made, and it's actually pretty fun. Like,
so get this, there's 50 encounters. I was looking at the triumphs. Surprise, surprise. Really? I was digging around in there, and it says there's a triumph in there for doing all 50 encounters of Menagerie. So there's not
50 rooms.
It said on there the 50 activities.
There's definitely not. There's 5 or 6 different rooms. 100%.
It says on the Triumph 50 activities.
Maybe
there 5 or 6 rooms with different combinations of enemies?
No, the room is the same. The encounter is the same. Like what you have to do, the mechanics are the same. And
So when we did Menagerie, we got some activities, and then I did it offline for video, and I got 2 activities that I'd never seen before. And we had done Menagerie a couple times. Like I got the Gauntlet one running around, and then I got the one where actually that was the Gauntlet. There was stuff in there.
There's Gauntlet, there's crystals, there's wizards that drop orbs, there's where you have to collect the green souls, there's hive swords.
There's new stuff coming though weekly for that,
plates. Right? There's new bosses every week. The boss will rotate every week.
Oh, sorry. It's 50 encounters to complete. My bad, guys. I misread it. Yep.
Yeah.
My bad.
Barely had any time to do anything, to be fair. But yeah, it's cool. I really like it a lot. It seems, back to you guys' point, it seems like they're solving a little bit of the RNG grind with the chalice. So in other words,
without getting rid of it entirely, though, which is important, because if you could pick your gun and all the rolls, then it'd be terrible. Because everyone would get exactly what they needed first try, and then they'd be done.
Yeah,
people
exactly.
Would stop playing the encounter.
Yep.
Yeah.
But can you get 2 powerful engrams of choice out of that per week? Is it 2?
No, you can upgrade and you can get up to 3, I think. 3 or 4. Yeah.
So like in other words, can you actually there's still some randomness, right? But in other words, let's say I'm missing a helmet, a energy slot, and a power. Can I just go in and choose to get those 3 things for the week, or is there still some randomness?
You can choose helmet, and then not only that, you can choose what type of. So, like, all right, I'm just gonna stick with guns. You can choose gun, and then not only that, you can choose what type of gun, what archetype. So, like, high rate of fire, low rate of fire, medium, and then you can choose the masterwork as well.
That's cool.
So, you're gonna get this gun, this RPM, this masterwork. Boom, guaranteed. What's the roll on it?
Yep.
Not good. Run it back.
Imagine this for light level gains when you're like, I need arms.
Well, we did exactly that. I mean, I needed I needed a class item, and I got a class item.
Yeah, but like down the road when you have it fully upgraded, you can get 3 powerfuls. You can just be like, okay, I need boots, gloves, and a special.
Yeah, Briar, when you're 697 again, those feels. Getting those 5 duplicate items in a row.
Yeah.
I'm not letting that happen again. I'm going to pay for an account recovery.
So overall, I think Menagerie is an amazing activity. Bungie just straight up knocked it out of the park with this, because it's different every time you go in there. You get, like I said, the chalice allows you to control your rewards. It's 6 players, so you can bring in a full fire team. You don't have to kick anybody out after you did a raid or something. You can all jump in there, or you can go in solo, and it's definitely doable. But it's tough.
And it's friendly because you can't fail.
Yeah, exactly. Which is so smart.
So you'll always get it completed no matter what. You just might get it completed slower if you go in and just match mate.
Yep.
That's why it's a match made activity.
I didn't know that.
Right.
cannot
There is going to
ran
be a
out of
heroic
time.
mode that's not
No,
match
if
made
you
coming out.
run out of time, then what it does is it'll just advance you to the next encounter, but it'll advance your bar at the top by a little amount. So you're gonna have to do more encounters. It's just gonna
You just keep chugging along. Okay.
Yep.
yeah. Now my guess for heroic being not match made is there's probably something there that's going to make it just a nightmare to do with a team. You know what I mean? Like sending you to orbit if you fail or something.
Or-
like you can let's say you can actually fail.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
heroic.
say.
That's why it's not match. You know,
Yeah,
that would
like
be-
if you don't fill up the meter, you're done. The activity's done, no
exactly,
reward.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see another 6-man activity, frankly.
Same.
Yeah.
Nah.
You know, like having sometimes you do a raid, but everybody kind of wants to still stick together. So let's go grind some menagerie. You know, like that's fun.
Mhm.
You know, we don't feel like doing Crucible, so let's do menagerie.
Yeah, it was so necessary. Remember when we were all trying to load into Escalation Protocol, and when it worked, it was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
a little bit of what we were asking for. So
Yeah, totally.
more of this, you know.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I got one question from Twitter that I cannot not ask. It's from Sasquatch, and it is this is specifically for Glad. What members of DCP do you think could succeed at the hot dog challenge and earn their place on the Redeem Clan?
This
Hot
guy,
dog
dude.
challenge.
What's the hot dog challenge again?
This is
Yeah.
this is
I
like
could not. I gotta know.
this,
What's the hot dog
This
challenge?
sounds like something Holtz would be perfect at.
He still counts.
I feel like Pope would be pretty good at this one too.
Oh, I could see Pope being taking a hot dog challenge very serious.
Oh gosh. The hot dog challenge is people ask all the time, what, you know, I think I'm a good player. What can I do to get into Redeem? You know, is there stuff I have to do? Are there tryouts? So I started a thing. I just got tired of the question so much. So I was like, all right, you have to shove, what is it, 12 hot dogs? You have to shove 12 uncooked cold hot dogs up your ass at the same time, and none of them can break at all. And then you have to send me a video of all 12 up your ass, and if I see video proof, I'll let you.
This definitely sounds like something Pope or Holtz could do.
Yeah, I think our initial impression is
Yeah,
correct.
I was spot on about this.
Amazing.
I'm so glad we asked that.
Wait, can you freeze them?
No, they have to be totally, totally.
He said
uncooked
cold.
Nope.
Friend's like, well, let's see here.
Looking for that loophole,
Yeah.
Fran. I like it.
Still strats. Strats, man.
Do
It
they
used
have
to be
to be-
bratwursts, by the way? But
Do
we
they have
reduced
to
it
be like next to each other, or can they be in a row?
No, they have to be like plumped. Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Jumbo.
Uncooked.
Imagine a pickle jar. Just, you know.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh my god. I'm glad we asked. Wow.
I actually just read today on Reddit that the human anus could get up to 8 inches in diameter
Oh, there you go.
without damaging
Entry
anything.
level.
Wow.
Entry level for Clan Redeem.
I do
Yeah,
think
there
this
you
is a
go.
possibility.
Amazing.
Oh man. Is that do we got one more question? Or should
Yeah,
we
sure.
We're coming up to 3 hours.
Yeah.
So we could probably do one more and then wrap it up.
Mr. Goodbites asks, with all the Destiny news today, my question is, will Tefty commit to a Planet Coaster Ghostbusters DLC stream?
Wow. Oof. The schedule's getting packed, man. I mean, September. Have you seen all the stuff that's coming out in September? It's insane.
Is it coming out in September?
It might be. I'm just assuming. September is like a good God, please, AAA companies, stay away from September. This is ridiculous.
Wait, can we at least mention that I'm legit upset that Destiny comes out
4 days.
3 days after Borderlands?
4 days after Borderlands 3.
3 or 4. Like, what in the face of that? No, I'm always excited that Destiny's coming out, but what can you just give us like 2.5, 3 weeks. Like, are you guys actually? I'm upset about it. I mean, I don't know the details of how
I don't
that
like
happens.
it.
At
They
least
might
they're
have
not
got
coming out
stuck
the
with
same
it.
day.
Yeah.
But I'm, oh God, 3 days is just, I don't know,
It's
3 or 4.
it's so packed. I mean, if you're a fan of both games, it's like good luck.
You Borderlands
That's not
guy,
it either.
Glad?
There's so many things coming out
Am
in
I?
September.
Not really. Indifferent, you know. I'm not. I just never really put time into it. A couple of my claymates are though, big time.
Yeah. I'm definitely
Seems cool. I might actually try it. I might try it. We'll see. We'll see how Destiny is at that time or whatever else is going on.
Yeah.
It played really good at the reveal.
Yeah.
Like it felt really
Yeah.
good.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. It's very exciting times if you're a Borderlands
Sure,
fan.
you guys will
Yeah.
talk about that on Side Quest, right? Ted?
That's right. Is that the cue to switch over?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Guys, it's been an amazing podcast. It's been a juicy, thick one, and I think we have to call it. So thank you very much for watching. Also, we will be doing a side quest, which is Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, where we talk about other games like Borderlands and all the stuff that's coming up. E3 is going to have a lot of news. Starts in a week, right? No, the 9th. Right? E3?
I don't know.
Anybody know?
Oh, what's the question?
You guys?
When's E3 starts?
So E3 officially. So EA will start with some of its keynote announcements on Saturday. Sunday is when the press conferences kick off. So look for, like Microsoft is Sunday, and that's going to be. I think it's Sunday. Yes.
Dang.
It's going to be huge. But obviously, got Ubisoft, Bethesda, Square.
So this
Final
Sunday.
Fantasy 7 remakes. Starting Sunday is the press conferences. The show floor opens on Tuesday.
Okay, Sunday the 9th on. Okay, yeah. Yep. So yeah, next week is going to be a lot of E3 news. Very exciting about that stuff. But it's been a great show today. Thank you so much for watching. Glad, thanks for coming out as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, on the bleeding edge of all this exciting rating stuff that's going on with Season of Opulence. And also want to thank all of our patrons as well for making the show a possibility. Both shows actually. SideQuest and DCP. So if you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. You can also catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. And I started uploading a couple YouTube videos here and there. The occasional YouTube video.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me not playing Destiny for at least 3 days. Hey, I also got a question about the podcast for you guys. If currently we upload both of the podcasts to the same podcast feed, and we're kind of like talking about, do we want to keep doing that? Do we want separate feeds, or do we want a combination of one feed that has both podcasts plus one feed that has each podcast? Like, let us know kind of how you guys would prefer it. And thanks for listening and thanks for watching.
Yeah.
If you like me and want to see me on the show and want to support me here on Twitch, you can find me at FM3_ right here, or Fran Mirabella on Twitch. I mean, Twitter. Almost nailed it.
Glad.
And Glad, aka Sean, you can unfollow me on twitch.tv/Glad, GLADD, double D's. You can find me on Twitter at Glad on Twitch, and YouTube also at Glad, GLADD.
Awesome. It's been a great show, guys. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you next week. GG's.
Bye.